All right. So I'm going to turn you up first because you sounded kind of low, but so I'm really confused as to why you disagree with my statement about Mike Enoch.
hmm
Like,
Let's go back to that statement.
okay, I'm gonna go
We will
tweet.
be keeping notes here. Let me make a category.
Sure. Do you want me to say what I stated there then, or do you want me to wait for you to?
So I will make this category Jack versus AltCapRight, right?
What did you say?
I will name this category Jack versus or
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Jack
Okay,
AltCapRight.
sure, yeah, makes sense.
So I will try to create channels so we keep arguments on each channel separate, so we don't
Okay,
skew off in too many ways.
sure, yeah, man.
All right. Let's see. Where do we start?
So basically, what I said is Enoch is just another symptom of the victim culture, and that he acts like a victim. He literally has argued for reparations in the form of sectioning off lands, states for whites. Notice any connections to the groups who spout the victim narrative. How do you disagree with that?
No, that is not reparations. The
How
reparations. Here's the difference. Reparations are what you get to fix the head start another group has. A head start that doesn't actually exist, that you can't prove, and that has by all means been fixed by affirmative action and by whites giving their blood to free blacks themselves. We are
wait?
the only race that ever gave our own blood, that ever fought to free another race.
Okay,
That
wait.
has never
Hold
happened
on,
before.
hold on. You're going
And
off on a.
blacks, by the way, blacks have enslaved us before.
I know that. Everyone has enslaved people in history. That doesn't change what I said, though. And
It does,
one, the
because they don't have a
definition.
right to
Hold on,
reparations.
hold
If
on,
they have done us
hold
wrong,
hold on, man. The
and
definition of
we have
reparations
done them good,
is the making of amends for a wrong one has done by paying money to or otherwise helping those who have been wronged. So
we are not
what
asking for help. We are asking for
you're asking for
self-determination.
states. Yeah, you're
We are not,
asking
and we're not
for
asking either.
states because they took them from you, right?
Yes, they took them from us.
Without your permission. And you're asking
Yes,
for them back. So you're asking them to repay you in the form of a state.
and what are blacks are asking reparations for? Not being free. Well, they are free. We took their freedom. Well, we
I'm
didn't
not
actually
arguing for
take their
black
freedom.
reparations.
Of course, you are. No, you're not arguing for it. You are just comparing it.
I'm
And
comparing
I'm
it because it's a
explaining,
good
and I'm
comparison.
explaining the difference to you. Here is the difference.
Okay.
Blacks are asking for reparations because they were not free. Well, first of all,
Well, they were
uh,
enslaved. Their labor was taken from them. As an
we did not
anarcho-capitalist, I
enslave them.
believe you could kind of
We did not.
understand that.
We did not enslave them.
Yet we did
Others
enslave the
enslaved them, and we
blacks.
freed them. Others enslaved them, and we freed them.
But before we freed them, we used their labor without paying them.
Yes, and then we freed them, and this was the reparation. We fought to free them,
So you're
and then
saying
we
you
even start,
paid them
and
back
then
by
we even
freeing them.
started
But I'm not
reconstructing
arguing
the.
for reparations for
No, I'm not
black
saying.
slavery
I'm
because
not saying you're arguing for it. I'm telling you the comparison is completely off.
no, it isn't. It just isn't. Like,
I
explain
keep telling you,
explain again how.
blacks,
Okay.
blacks do have self-determination. They do have their own nations. We cannot,
Mm-hmm.
without self-determination, fix any problems that keep appearing out of diversity in our own nations. We, we're not asking for punishment. We're not asking for fixing something. We are asking for what is our own, so we can create our own destiny.
I mean, you
We're
do
not
you
asking for
hold
money.
on.
We're asking for our own land back.
So say you want all the land in like Wyoming.
And no, I keep saying asking. This isn't the right term at all.
I didn't understand that. What'd you say?
I keep saying asking. This is not the right term at all. You do not ask for your wallet back. You just take it.
So you're saying you take it back. But
Of course, you
again,
take it back.
you're not taking your wallet back from someone who took your wallet. You're taking your wallet back from other people who had nothing to do with taking your wallet. In that analogy.
Oh, by the way, we're not using force either. But even if
Okay,
you want to
I
argue for,
Hold on.
Yeah, here's the thing. You say you're not even talking about force, by the way. You're talking about even claiming it. And so here's the thing.
I'm talking about
If
Mike
someone
Enoch saying he
wait
would
a minute. If
deport.
someone steals your wallet, and gives it to his kid, can you ask for the wallet back from his kid?
Um, well, it's not just his kid though. Other people live there who didn't steal your wallet, according to the logic.
The kid did not steal it either.
Well, they're not all.
No, that's
They're
not
not
a false
all.
comparison.
Do
But
you
let's not
think
go there
every
yet. I
single
will go
like?
there yet.
Okay, for example, let's say that Jewish
Just
people really
first
did
of all,
aggress you,
let's
which no,
let's
just
first
let me finish my
agree on.
statement.
Let's find common ground. Let's find common ground
Just
first.
let me finish my statement before then we can find some
I
more common
will,
ground
but
if
I
you want
want
to.
to find common ground first,
Just
and
let
then
me.
see if the analogy holds up.
Just
Because
please
we
let me
stand
say
on nothing
this.
right
Just
now.
let me say this. So, do you think every single Jewish person has transgressed a white person to where they should give them back their land?
What
Or is there
difference
a
do you
strain
make?
of ancestry, right? Like, is there one Jewish person and his kids who never
Why
did
is it
anything to a
about
white person? Because it's important.
how is it relevant to this?
Because when you take land, right, when you say, we want our land back, and you're going to take it back, you're not always just going to affect the people that you say are transgressing you, or have transgressed you, or whose ancestors have transgressed you. You're going to be taking it back from people who have done nothing. His ancestors have done nothing, and so they're completely innocent of anything.
Yeah, and the kid of the thief is innocent when it has the
It's
wallet. It
not their
doesn't know
kid. I'm saying the person who never
Will
transgressed you.
you?
There's going to be
You
people who
have
have
still
never
not
done that.
answered the question.
What
And
question?
yes, it is your
Ask me a
kid,
question.
actually. First, you will answer my question,
Sure, yeah.
and then we will go from there.
Sure, I'll answer your question. What is your question?
My question is, can you ask for your wallet back from the kid of the thief?
If it was his kid, but it's not his kid. That's the whole point.
What?
It's not his kid.
Dude, I'm telling you, it's his fucking kid. It's an example.
Okay,
Will you answer the
so
question?
say if you said, should someone be paid back by George Soros because he's done something wrong?
You can argue
I could
the
agree.
analogy is false
'Cause-
later. You can argue the analogy is false later.
It's
But
not
in
just
this
it's
anal-
mightily important to your point, dude. Like, I don't think you understand
You
that.
can argue for that later. But let's find common ground in this theoretical example.
What? Why can't I argue for that right now? That's what we started with. That's what you disagreed with me first. I'm trying to get past that and try and have a common ground on that.
When we create an analogy, first we agree on this analogy, and then we argue whether the analogy is valid, whether the analogy is parallel to reality.
But you are the one who made an analogy first, and your analogy doesn't work for the situation. Is
Yes,
what I'm
we
saying.
can argue for that later, but let's talk about the analogy first.
We are talking about the analogy.
Unbelievable.
I've said that the analogy doesn't work.
Forget about the debate. Okay, let's start a channel for this.
Dude, I'm not arguing with that analogy being true, but I'm saying the analogy doesn't work for the situation. If you're saying if someone steals your wallet and then he gives the wallet to his kid, can you take your wallet back? Yes. But I'm saying the person who stole your wallet, they're not always going to have children everywhere, right?
You agreed. So you agreed. Finally, you said it.
Oh my god, dog. Do you not get what I'm saying though? Like, people, right, don't always descend from someone who stole your wallet. Not that I agree on that premise, but this is where I'm arguing you on it right now.
Just a minute.
Oh dear. Oh.
Yes, I'm just making the channel. So
Sure.
I am asking. So I am typing my question.
Okay.
All right. And your answer is yes, right?
Of course, but that doesn't fit the whole taking back states thing because you're going to affect other people. So it's a broken analogy for the situation. Is what I'm saying. I'm not disagreeing that that statement is true.
Taking the wallet back from the thief's kid affecting the kid?
Is it affecting the kid? Well, I mean, of course it affects him, but is it just? Yes, it's just because the father stole your wallet. But you're not always going to take back the wallet from people that transgressed you in your situation. You're taking someone else's wallet.
No, you're saying it's his wallet, but we are talking about the land. The land was ours, and it was
It was,
taken away.
well, technically it was the Native Americans, if you want to get real specific with it. Not that I think they should get it back, because you can't fix history like that. But like,
You just keep saying that, but it's a perfect analogy to what I said.
no, it isn't.
You keep agreeing to the analogy, but then saying no. Without
I'm saying your analogy would work if it was compared to something that was correct, but your initial premises,
just
right?
said you're wrong. You didn't. You can't just.
I did not
keep
just say
saying
I was
you're
wrong.
without justifying.
Like, do you understand? Okay, what I'm saying is your analogy does not work for the given situation. If you're using the analogy for an actual situation where you were just taking back your wallet from the person's kid who stole it, right? Like the person stole your wallet, then you take it back from his kid. That's fine. But you're going to be taking someone else's wallet, right? Rather than taking the ancestor's kid who stole your wallet.
Somehow, when it is land, the wallet becomes property of the kid. It doesn't.
What are you talking? I'm not even talking about the kid. I'm saying there's other kids that their fathers haven't transgressed
is the
you.
next generation. I thought it was obvious. The kid is the next generation.
I'm aware of
From
that.
the immigrants that
I am
came
totally
here
aware of that.
without the people's consent.
It's like saying though that all white people committed slavery in a sense, because you're saying just
No,
because
it's not.
a Jewish person may have transgressed you in the past, then all Jewish people should have to suffer, because the Jewish person may not be related.
We already
to-
covered that because what was
How did we
taken
cover that?
away was given back. We did not take away their land. They still
Who?
have their land.
Who?
Black people.
Black people?
Yeah.
I'm not saying you took
By
their
the
land.
way,
You took their
by the
labor.
way, I see you
What?
also. I see you also mentioned native, Amerindians.
Native
You
Americans?
said by that logic. You said that by that.
I'm
logic,
saying by
they
your
give,
logic,
their
yes.
land back?
I don't agree with that statement, but I'm saying that's what you
should
can
not.
argue that from your point of view. Is what I'm saying.
No, because they had
Yes,
no
you
nation
can.
and they attacked us. They had no nation. It was just a bunch of tribes. They did not own the land.
The Iroquois. Okay, when they formed a confederacy, the Iroquois nation, that was not a nation. They all agreed on certain set of principles that they didn't want to die out, so they formed the Iroquois nation, just like we formed, right? A nation to
Amerindians?
defeat.
Amerindians formed the federation before we got there.
Yeah, when we got there, they formed a nation to defeat us,
Have a
and
concept of the federation.
they had a social contract in order that they
No,
had a
it had
leader.
nothing. It was just a bunch of tribes. They did not own the land.
Do you not consider tribes a form of government?
No, it's not a form of government, and I'm not talking
It's
about.
not
the
a form
land
of
they live
government.
on. I'm not talking
It's
about.
very
the land they live on.
simplistic.
Even by their own standards. First of all, the Amerindian law that you cannot own the land. That's like it has.
How
has
did they
like-
not own the land? They were on the land.
But
They were
what
there.
What they did own by the most extreme stretch is the hunting grounds, the living grounds and the hunting grounds. That's all.
So the land.
That's not all the freaking land. That's
What-
a small part of the land.
Do you believe that any white person has ever taken land from a Native American unjustly?
Yeah, because it was war. No, not unjust.
Well,
Some
then,
of them did.
then you can argue the same thing. That you're
No,
arguing
no,
for
because
white
they
people.
No, because they have ethnostates. We gave them ethnostates.
How did that
Exactly
turn out
because
for
of
them, by the
racism.
way? Just a little caveat. How did that turn out for them?
What do you mean? How did that turn out for them?
How is the current ethnostate of Native Americans?
Immigration did not turn out very good for them, and this is why
Immigration did not turn out for them? What are you talking
This
about?
is
Immigration.
exactly why we gave them ethnostates.
And their ethnostates suck.
And now because what?
Have you ever like look up statistics on how like native tribes are doing in their fucking reservations? It's not
And why do
great.
you? And why the hell do you think that is because of that is because they are homogeneous or something? How
No,
can you
I'm just
how
pointing
can you
that
make
out.
that
I'm
connection?
saying it's not going well for them. Anyway, can we
So
let's
what? Have you made the connection on it being an ethno state?
it I thought you said it was an ethno
Black
state.
communities are
Oh,
not
we
ethno
agreed on
states.
that.
They're not
It's a
doing very well either.
you can't be a citizen of a Native American reservation, correct? You can't
I'm
as a
not sure
white
about that,
person.
but it's the
So
definition
it's
of
an
an ethno
ethno.
state
You
is
said it
that
was
it
an
is
ethno state. It's an ethno state. You have to be Native American to live there.
that's unimportant actually.
How is that unimportant? That's your entire
Israel is
premise is that I know
Israel
Israel's
is
an ethno state.
yes it is because how do you define an ethno state?
As they decide their citizens based on their like white, black, Jewish ethnicity.
That would be helpful, yes, but it's not necessary. What is necessary is for the state to have policy to protect the native group, and Israel has that.
That's not.
Israel has an official policy of wanting to keep Israel majority Jewish. This is an ethnic policy, and
Okay,
this is what defines
hold on, but that's not a full like.
this is what the United States had, and this is what this is what the First Nations had.
Okay. So what are you trying to prove with that?
I'm trying to say. I'm trying. This is why I don't want to drag points too long because people forget what it was about. And what it was about is because immigration was bad for the Amerindians, and because we are so
Did you say immigration was
that's
bad for the Native Americans?
yeah, I use immigration
What
lightly.
do you mean the invasion of their territory and the
Semi-sarcastic.
mass disease that killed them? What like what?
Invasion? You mean invasion? What did we invade? Iraq? Did
We
we invade
invaded
Iraq?
some of their land, but most of them died of disease, so it was very easy to do so.
Did we also invade the moon?
No one lived on the moon. Native Americans
Yeah,
lived in
no one
America.
lived on much of the land either.
No,
Just
not
to
much of
put
it, but
in
you still
2000
transgress some people, dog. Like, what are you saying?
At the same land
There
that
was
we
like,
claim we
hold on,
transgressed against them,
you,
this was their social contract as well.
so can we both?
They
I think here's
transgressed
some
against
common
each
ground we
other.
can both.
Why can
Hold
they
on,
do it,
just shh.
but we cannot because we're white?
Here's some common ground. No, I'm not
You
saying
can
that.
claim that
Just
it was
wait,
wrong,
wait,
but
just
everyone
listen.
was
I'm
equally
trying
wrong
to
back then.
explain something to you that we can both agree on. We both can agree 90% of Native Americans died of disease, correct?
Yep.
Yes. But the 10% still there didn't just like walk away willingly. They got kicked out because they were such a small group, it was easy to fucking abuse them.
What do you mean kicked out? They're still there.
They got kicked out of their land at the time. They've been given reparations for it back. Like,
Reparation? No, that's not reparation.
that is a
This
reparation. That is a
we
literal
gave
description of
them
reparation.
we gave them the power.
You
for
gave them land back,
self-preservation. This is
which,
not just
because
reparation.
you took it from them, therefore you repaid them in the form of a reparation. Reparations
It's not
don't
a
have to be
reparation,
money.
It's paying them. We didn't just pay them. We gave them land. And
Did you
it
say
is fair to
spay
do-
them? What-
It is fair to do so because it was a result of us coming here that they had to suffer this. Maybe we didn't mean for it to happen.
So you're saying
But we do
so
have
you do
some
agree reparations are
so-
fair?
Reparations can be fair, but they're not in this case.
See, I don't
And
I
we're
don't
not
believe
asking-
in reparations.
What?
I don't believe in reparations. That's what I'm trying to
I
explain.
don't care if you believe
And I'm
in
saying
reparations or not,
That just
I'm
like
not
the
asking
far
you.
left who asked for black reparations, the alt-right also does the same. This is the
Tell me,
claim I'm
at
making.
what point? So tell me this: are the Boer in white in South Africa?
I didn't hear
That
it.
the
Can
use
you
of
you got to
voting is
restart
included?
you got to restart your statement. I didn't understand a word of that.
So at what point exactly? And I insist, this is not about reparations.
Okay,
These are not
yeah.
reparations.
Sure.
But even by your logic, at what point do are you not an SJW for asking for your own land? For example,
At what point?
are the Boer in South Africa in the areas when they have to bar their fucking bedrooms to not get raped and killed?
Are you talking about like the
are they
Lauren? Hold on. Are you
SJW
talking about
for
the
wanting
Lauren
to be
Southern
excluded?
stuff over in South Africa she's been covering?
What?
Is that like the farmers getting fucking house invaded? I don't.
Yeah.
If someone is
Don't think
currently alive, right, who has taken something from you, you can take it back from them. Or, right, you can take it back from their children. But there are going to be people who haven't taken anything from
So
you.
they arrested. So you say the boer arrested W's for wanting land of their own, where they don't let the people who attack them in.
Hold on, what did you just say?
Are the boer
Are the
little
what?
SJW snowflakes for wanting the tribes that attack them to not be let in their areas? Not their houses, their areas.
I'm the radiance. What are you saying? I'm trying to understand. Please just say it like clearly and concisely.
Unbelievable.
I can't understand you, Doug. I'm
Are
sorry.
the boer the white South Africans?
Okay, the white South Africans.
Yes. The ones who are being attacked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Are they little SJW snowflakes?
I never
If they
said you
say-
were exactly SJW snowflakes. I'm saying you're using the same arguments to draw this conclusion that you should get reparations. I'm not saying you're an SJW. I'm saying you have similar.
Oh, the same arguments?
Yeah, you have similar
The
arguments
argument
for
of black
reparations.
people, no, listen. The argument of black people
Yeah.
is that they have a wage gap. The argument of white people
I don't believe
is
in
they
the
are
wage
fucking
gap.
killing
What are
them.
you talking about? Why you're like strawmanning me, saying like black people believe they have a wage gap. Well, first of all, I've never heard that as much as like women having a wage gap, which they do, but there's certain reasons for that aren't all sexism.
This is exactly how they justify it. They say that the only way to explain the difference in achievement between blacks and whites is the past of slavery, and they want reparations until
And
the gap is closed.
I'm saying they should not receive reparations because like 1% of the population enslaved them. That's
No,
like
this
can
is
trace back
what
ancestry
you think
to
about
people
it is
who enslaved
completely
them.
irrelevant. I am talking about your point in comparing our two arguments. Their
They're
argument
similar.
is a lie. Our argument is survival.
How is it a lie? You stole their labor. If you were a slave owner at the time,
lie is
and then
that this
you'd
is
say
why
that their
there is a wage
ancestors who are related to them should pay them back for that
The
labor.
lie is that this is why there is a wage gap.
What that? Well, of course. What do you mean? Like they have like slavery somehow affected their wealth today?
No.
Are you saying that that's not true? Because slavery does affect their wealth because their ancestors had years of
Not
free labor.
anymore. The Asians,
No, it's still.
the Asians earned less than us when they came here, and now they earn more. They had more than
You said
enough
the
time
Asians?
and more than enough help to catch up to us. No, in fact, it went the opposite way.
Did you
This is
say?
what they-
Wait, hold on. Did you say Asians, or are we talking about like black slave?
East Asians. East Asians.
East
I'm giving you an
Asians.
example of other people that were in the shoes of blacks and made it out of them.
I'm a little confused. Wait, why are you going to East Asians? We're talking about
Fucking Christ.
black people who were slaves and are related to slaves in the past, right? I mean, they're affected by that in some way. You're affected by everything, but I don't think that justifies getting reparations for it. And I'm not arguing for that.
They're not affected.
Like a shit ton of the world is affected by the Mongols, but I don't think the Mongols should have to, like, anyone who's related to Genghis Khan should have to pay should have to pay the people affected, like ancestors who were affected by Genghis Khan. It's a ridiculous premise and conclusion.
There are two reasons against that. One is what I just explained, and actually it's the same reason in a way. It's because they can make it out of whatever damage was done to them. They can fix it.
How?
We cannot
Okay.
fix not having our land. We cannot create new land. The land was this and it was taken.
You're
you
trying to
understand the
take
difference?
back the land.
They can fix the wage gap. We cannot fix the fucking land gap.
And just saying, technically, you can create land. Like, if we're speaking real scientifically.
Jesus Christ,
Yeah, but it's the
you can
truth,
create
man.
land. What are you? What
You
the
can-
fuck are
you can
talking
create
about? You
land.
can create land.
Like, scientifically. That doesn't really matter. It's just interesting. But, like, what do you mean? What do you mean? So somehow it's different. You're saying it's different because you can create more money? I mean, what?
Because you can't fix it.
You
It's
can't
irreversible.
you can't fix what? Slavery or like the land being stolen?
You can't fix not having your land. You can't create new land. You need the same land back.
Well, then in that conclusion, you would have to give it back to the natives who are here.
No, because they had no nation.
They had tribes. That is their small
They had
nation.
tribes.
You could argue
Yes,
the
they
same
had
thing
tribes.
about
Yeah,
Europeans in Europe. At some point, they were very tribal. So do they have no claim to that land until they form a nation with a piece of paper? What
but
does that
then you
mean?
could claim that. But then they created nations, so too bad.
Oh,
They
so
did that.
it just means as soon as you like put in like a real social contract and form a government, all of a sudden you have that nation.
When you actually own the land, yes.
So do you believe in like right of conquest then? Or like what's going on
Right
here?
of conquest. I'm
Right
not
of
talking about
conquest.
conquest. I'm talking
You're
about
talking about
settling.
conquest.
Well, you understood. You misunderstood what I said. I wasn't talking about taking the land they were living in. I'm talking about settling in land that no one lived in.
People
Most of the
lived
US
here.
was like that. But the natives back then still attacked us.
So
So we fought back.
just another
Do
question.
you just by the way, do you know relative to how 90% of them died of disease?
I am aware, yeah.
Many leftists like Jared Diamond.
I don't know who that
I'm
is,
sure you
but
know about him from that stupid fucking book, Guns, Germs, and Steel.
I know about the
Um,
book. Yeah.
yeah. Every
Okay.
liberal is to
What they're trying to claim
that.
it's not true that they were all died of disease or something? Is that what you're trying to say?
No, I'm saying it was an accident. But what they claim is,
Oh
and
yeah, they claim the
this is
pox blankets and shit
oh
were
yeah,
used.
I
Yeah,
was
no,
getting to the
that's
box blanket.
that's fucking
Even this
retarded.
example.
I don't believe in that. No.
Oh, okay. But I was get. It wasn't. It isn't relevant.
I mean,
This information.
like let me be real clear here
I'm
so
getting to
people don't
something.
start
I'm just
fucking
getting to a
screaming at me.
coincidence. I'm getting to a coincidence. Even the
Okay.
box blanket myth, that the
Mhm.
myth is that this caused the epidemic. That started from a letter
Well,
that
it
said,
caused the academic, but it wasn't intentional. Stupid.
oh, yes, that's what I mean. But what they're trying to claim is that it was intentional because they tried
No.
to give them blankets to wipe them off. But even that happened while they were under siege from Amerindians. They were in constant war. They were
Yeah, they
attacking
were at
them
war.
all the time.
That's why I
We are not
asked.
talking about we are
That's
not
why
talking about peaceful people that we went and wiped out. We did not
I'm
wipe
fully
out
aware Native
the
Americans
vast
scalp
majority.
people and were very aggressive, but we did some fucking
Yeah,
atrocious things in history too. That's why I asked you if you believe in right
that's
of
not magic.
conquest.
No, I don't.
Well, then we conquested them after something fucking
We
awful
didn't.
happened to them.
That's
Yes,
not
we
what it
did. We
doesn't.
moved them out of
Yes,
their land. That's conquest. And then we gave them reparations, which I don't agree we should have given them. I think they should have just assimilated into society with us. That would have been fair, in my opinion.
let me describe to you again what happened. We did not conquer them. We settled in land no one lived in. They attacked us, and we fought back.
Okay, let me give you a good analogy here. Okay?
It's not an
So,
analogy
no, I'm saying let me give you a good analogy. Say Germany had like a new strain of Black Plague just appear out of nowhere. Shit ton of people died. Now, all of a sudden, Nigerians sail up, they plant their flag on the coast of Germany, and say, we now live here, this is our nation. The Germans say, fuck no, that's still our land, even though we've been decimated, and attack them.
Yeah,
Were they...
false analogy.
Huh?
That's a false analogy.
That's not a false analogy. It's exactly...
False because there were no borders. There were no right. There was no right of land.
So if a
There were
border
a bunch
isn't...
of tribes.
So,
The land
hold
between
on.
them was not owned.
If a
They
border...
only owned the hunting grounds.
If a border isn't drawn, then all of a sudden, somehow that's
They
not
have
their
not
land.
claimed
Even though
the
they
land.
work the land, they
They
live
didn't
there.
claim the land.
They
We
didn't...
do claim the land.
They didn't
Just
claim
because
the
people
land.
die there doesn't mean they
You
can
know
just
how ridiculous you sound.
plant a flag. What?
So as soon as you plant a flag, it's cool. It's cool. You
No,
own the
I said
land.
the opposite. I said the opposite. As soon as you live there, it's cool. This is what a settlement is.
They live there. What are you talking about?
They did. Again, no, they didn't.
They live
They
there.
occupied a small part of America.
What? They occupied a
Amerindians.
small part of America?
Yeah. Just
Oh.
because you see the map, painted everywhere doesn't mean they actually
Okay,
lived
but
in all the states.
we now, right? All of America is covered by the United States.
Exactly.
Right? All
which
of
is
the
why
United
you
States...
can't fix not having your land.
So are you
You
saying
need to give back.
that we should give them back their hunting grounds, right? These little pockets of hunting grounds all over the United States. We should just let Native Americans completely own it. We can't go there.
We gave them ethno status. We fixed that.
I don't think that fixed anything. I think that made it worse for
Yeah,
them.
I don't care if you think it fixed anything.
Well, because
We did-
it's
we did better than literally any race in the history of ever. No one
you're,
has ever
you're
done
saying
it.
white people have done better.
We were more merciful. We were more kind.
Oh, thank you, Your Highness.
Anyone else in
Thank you, Your Highness. You bestowed such a great gift of land and life on the Native Americans.
Yes, we did.
Oh my
Welcome.
God, dude. First of all, you didn't do that. If your ancestors
You
did
have
that,
been talking in terms of you and we and them. all
I'm
this
I'm
time.
saying
Now
you
suddenly
yourself.
it's not okay.
I am saying you yourself didn't do that.
That's a really stupid goal.
Why is that stupid?
Because
It's-
this is the terms we've been talking about.
Can I just say something here? Here's something I really want to bring up.
It's not okay. No, it's bullshit.
I want to bring up something right now. The alt-right talks about how we never decided this. You sound like sovereign citizens who say they never signed anything to agree on a constitution. Like Mike Enoch argues all the time for essentially breaking of every part of the Constitution. He's arguing for revolution. You realize this,
I
right?
just refer to myself as a white person. That's
Okay.
all I did.
But did you just hear what I said?
This is the terms in which you said thank you, Your Highness.
Oh my
Of
God.
course, you're talking about me.
Yes, I'm talking about you. Did you
Yeah,
understand what
so-
I just said, though?
No, I don't think you understand that.
Do you understand what I just made something? I just started a new topic.
No, you just keep forgetting what you said a minute ago.
No, I just said I really want to talk about this. I dropped the last one because obviously we're not going to agree on what we were just
All right,
talking
let's
about.
go to the new topic. Let's go to the new topic.
That's what I just tried to do.
Yep. Let's try it again.
So, when you, right, make the claim that you never decided to live in a multicultural society, it seems oddly ridiculous to me because no one decides where they're born, what government they're born under, anything like that. So, like, you sound like sovereign citizens that say they never decided any of this for themselves, so that they're just traveling and shit like that. And you essentially are arguing for revolution because you're going to undermine the Constitution doing everything you're doing right now. It will do
Let's
that.
unpack this.
Yeah, sure.
So there's 2 points I want to talk about here. Let's make a general channel.
Yeah.
All right. So the second one was you talked about we want revolution.
Yeah.
The first one was you can. This was really ridiculous. That you can't complain about.
I didn't say you couldn't complain.
What the previous generation didn't decide upon, right? Can I type that in, or is that a strawman?
Wait, what? I just rephrase it.
You said that we can't complain about what happened without the previous generation of the citizens of this country.
I'm not saying you
Uh,
can't
that-
complain. I'm saying acting like you had no choice is just silly, like a silly premise to begin with.
Yes, we as a people. What are you talking about?
Well, because your ancestors had a choice, right? They had choices. They had
No, they were not
agency in the
given a choice.
government. How are they not given a
They
choice?
were lied to.
They were lied to.
Yeah, they were told.
So the white
Very
people were too
stupidly.
stupid.
They were. Are you saying that everyone who has ever been deceived is stupid?
It's not just it's like if
Because
this
we
is
have,
you know how hard it would be to deceive people that bad. Like they'd have to be dumb, right, to
So
deceive
you're
someone
saying
of
there
that
was
mass.
there was no deception, right? So when they said,
I'm not necessarily saying there's no deception. I'm just saying like what does that make? What does that why? So if there was deception,
so if you're
Right.
trying to say we are stupid, well, I'm not even going to entertain that. We already have the.
I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm just saying it's ridiculous to act like they were so ignorant to the multicultural society being formed in the United States. Like no white people ever figured that out. That's what was happening.
This is.
I don't
Yes,
believe
some of
white
them
people
did,
are that
and They
dumb.
were called extremists. Some of them did, and they were called extremists.
So then there were people
Everyone
arguing
understood.
against it.
What's your point?
So those white people of the past who were apparently considered extremist, right? had a say, and they lost.
What the fuck do you mean?
They had a say.
There was no referendum about it.
They had
The
a say in
people
it.
were lied.
A referendum.
The people were told that the Immigration Act, that the Hart-Celler Act, would not cause this. It was a lie or a mistake. It didn't work out, so it has to be fixed.
Okay.
Do you agree that
What are you saying that immigration has caused?
a shift in demographics that they were promised it would not happen?
I mean, you can fix the demographics without becoming an ethno-state, though. That doesn't make the point that you should have an ethno-state.
Yeah, that's like your opinion, man.
No, it's not just an opinion. You can fix the
demo. Another solution, I don't.
Yeah, just have more fucking kids. The white birth rate is down like crazy, dog. It is.
Okay, listen, buddy, listen.
We're only being kept stable in birth rates by immigration. No one's having enough kids right now.
Yeah, listen, buddy. Okay.
That's the case. That's why white demographics are falling.
Will you shut up for a moment?
Sure, yeah.
All right. So you are saying that because of the mistake or the lie or the deception,
I'm giving you the benefit of the doubt on that. I don't believe there was a lie or deception, but sure, let's stick with that for now.
No, how about the mistake?
I don't believe there was a mistake, but you can say that, and we'll just agree with it so that we can go further into the topic.
This is too obvious. This is way too obvious.
I don't think multiculturalism is a mistake.
That this would not cause a shift in demographics. Did it cause a shift in demographics?
Somewhat, but what the white majority still exists.
Are you fucking kidding me? 90% to 60% is somewhat?
Yes, that's somewhat.
Okay.
If white people were no longer the majority, listen to me. If white people are no longer the majority, then if you think that's an issue, I still don't get how anything, right, changes how you somehow just form an ethno-state. You can fix this without an ethno-state.
Back then would not have chosen.
But do you know why the white majority is falling right now? Like, it's not just because we're having immigration. It's because we have immigration, right?
Now you're just saying that
and no birth rates. We have no birth rates.
Now you're just saying that there is no problem with becoming a minority.
I'm not saying that.
That's exactly what you just said.
I never said that. No, I said the reason white people
you're saying you don't want us to become a minority. You think that's a bad thing?
I don't care, but I'm saying I do not care either way. If we become a minority, I don't care. If we aren't a minority, I don't care. I don't think it matters that much. But you're the one. No, you don't understand. You're the one who cares so much. So I don't
acknowledge that you shifted your position at least 2 times.
I didn't shift my position. I never claimed to care.
Jesus Christ, you so annoying.
Okay, well, regardless, I do not care either way. To be honest with you.
Yeah, well, we care, and that's the point.
Yeah, you do care, and that's the point. And I don't know why the ethno-state is the answer to that. It seems silly and a ridiculous amount of work. Unless, like, when we get space travel, you go off to space and form your own colony of white people. It seems oddly ridiculous that you would, like, a lot of you want to fracture the United States in your movie.
If you have another solution to demographics...
Yes, birth rates. White birth rates are so fucking low, dog. Like, they're decreasing.
Listen. Birth rates.
Yeah.
First of all, you could be forced to change your lifestyle because someone else made a huge mistake.
What do you mean?
You could be forced to overpopulate your country because other people made a mistake. You are now on a race.
Wait, you're saying we're?
Do you understand how fucked up it is that instead of simply having your own space, you will have a race of having babies?
Wait, what?
Do you understand how fucked up it is?
A race of having babies.
Yeah, that's exactly what you're saying we must do.
I'm saying just have children. I'm not saying I have to. I'm not trying to force children. I'm not trying to force reproduction on you. I'm saying that should be the pinpoint of your argument, that we need to have more kids. Like when they point at the black community and say fatherhood's the issue, right? So fathers should stick around.
Having more kids simply makes the process slower. It's still going to happen. It makes no difference.
No, if you increase the birth rate to where it exceeds immigration coming in and birth rate of minorities,
so how about mixing? Mixing?
Race mixing? What do you mean? What do you mean race mixing?
Even if you have more kids, if they still mix...
Technically, under this race realism thing, isn't that a new race? So that would just add another demographic?
Yeah, and you would lose the white one.
I don't see that as losing the white one because you're subtracting from another race as well. So two demographics are being
No,
affected there, not just the white one.
You're actually
If a white
not
person and a
you're
black
not
person
subtracting
have
from
a
the other
child
one
that you can
because the other one has its own ethno-states in Africa.
we're talking about United States demographics. Is the 60%
Yeah, the
number?
United States was a white
So
ethno-state.
bringing up Africa is just
And
retarded.
you're saying
What the fuck?
We're subtracting from the race of an immigrant race? That's ridiculous.
You're subtracting from them in the United States, like we were just talking about. You're saying, you're like, what are you even trying to bring up here? You're bringing up another country.
Hey,
another place.
You said that you're indifferent
I don't
to us
fucking
becoming a
no.
minority, right?
But I don't care if you choose not to, and then use ways that are unconstitutional to raise your birth rates and become more of a majority. I've always cared about the Constitution.
How about the solution I proposed then? Do you agree it was you're saying there's no peaceful solution, right?
What solution? That's the whole like. Hold on, I want to look at your solution again, just so I make sure I'm completely correct on this. One, I don't. Are you really? What is it called? Are you really an anarcho-capitalist? Is that correct?
Yes.
How do you justify that? And then
what do you mean?
Well, like this whole where is it? Yeah, pick homogeneous areas, pay out groups to relocate. You mean the government pays them, or just private citizen pays them to relocate?
Right now we have a state, so we have to work by these rules.
So you're saying we have to use the state.
Use the government as well.
That is against your principles as an anarcho-capitalist. You don't believe in government intervention. That is government intervention into the markets.
By this logic, even walking on the street is against my principles.
Walking on the street.
Yeah, the street is paid for by the government.
I mean, that's kind of like the anarcho-capitalist thing, right?
So you're saying I'm right?
I'm not saying you're right. I'm saying this is what you believe.
Oh,
right?
So you are saying...
I'm asking you more, but like...
So you are saying that an anarcho-capitalist cannot be consistent if they ever walk on a street?
Yeah.
All right.
Is that does not? If you're just a capitalist and you're not, there's a difference between being.
Hold on. I'm not going to argue with you. I just wanted to make clear to your audience.
Okay.
And by the way, I want a link to the stream. Just
no, it's...
that this is the standard by which you think ethno-nationalism is not compatible with anarcho-capitalism.
No, I think it's not. I don't think it's compatible. No, because you'd have to imply force on people, which anarcho-capitalists seem to be rightly against.
Actually, you're only talking about the implementation under the current system. But
well, like what you believe in using the current system, but yet somehow you're still an anarcho-capitalist.
You can start by already having a homogeneous society, and then you have freedom of association, and you basically keep having an ethno-state.
Hold on, I was trying to get you the link.
Don't worry about it.
There you go. I didn't know if you were joking about the anarcho-capitalist thing, though, dog. To be honest, I didn't know if you were joking or not. But like, I do not understand. So it's cool to use intervention, then. You say that, right? In the current system we live in.
Oh yeah, I was typing in the chat. Intervention. Yeah, intervention is currently being used. We are being aggressed upon, and we have the right. We have the right to self-defense, of course.
Well, like anarcho-capitalist. Then you're not anarcho-capitalist, though, if you believe that you can use that.
No, that's not true. An anarcho-capitalist can punch back. This is punching back.
Hold on, what?
An anarcho-capitalist can punch back. If you punch an anarcho-capitalist, you will be punched.
Okay, but they're not. Not everyone's attacking you, though. And then you're gonna use that.
I'm talking about the example of using the government. The government is being used on us, so we can use the government back. That's my point.
That seems fundamentally ridiculous. But let's. What do you want to talk about next? Because I'm not going to agree with you on that.
I am okay with you saying that because your standard is I cannot walk on the street, so that's fine.
Well, I mean, I thought that was what anarcho-capitalism was all about.
Yeah, all right.
I thought it was like no government.
I am okay. I am okay with being told that it is not consistent to be an
Oh,
anarcho-capitalist
just as a final, you
by
can
the
make a. Let's
standard
both
of
make a
not
final
being
statement
able
on
to
that.
walk on the. We are done with this with this argument.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
am
saying.
fine
I
with
just
you
want to make a
saying that.
final
I
statement.
am fine with you saying that. If you think it is not, I can't
Okay,
even walk on
sure.
the street. It is consistent. It is
Well,
consistent
it
for you to say that.
confuses me.
It's okay.
Okay, what do you want to? Did you just go? Are you there?
No, I dropped the mic.
Okay, yeah. So what do you want to talk about next? Because we can talk about
I
how.
don't know. You can question me about my principles.
So something that really confused me about the race realism thing, especially we all know who JF is, right? Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so when JF brings up like how there can be up to 600 races, right? Why are we categorizing them in like 5 or 6 or whatever subsets to decide ethnostates?
Oh, there are several reasons. His scientific, very extra scientific approach was that he mentioned an experiment,
Mm-hmm.
a computer experiment, where
Yeah.
they used all the genomes available and they all clustered in the major races we already knew.
Yeah, I heard that.
Another reason is the social effect these groups have with each other. For example, you can divide these races to 600, but socially they will cluster to 3 again. So
To
this is
3.
why this is the practical reason
Well, it's like
for which what?
it's an argument for eugenics essentially
No, what
of
do
a
you mean?
very
And by the way,
particular
what
one.
do you mean eugenics?
Eugenics.
What do you mean eugenics?
I mean the whole ethnostate is like a combination of tribalism argument and eugenics arguments. That's what it is.
Eugenics. I don't know what you mean by eugenics. Do you mean killing people?
No, eugenics.
No, yeah,
Do you know
many
what
people
eugenics
mean killing
is?
people, so I have to be sure.
No, I don't mean killing people. I mean eugenics, the science of eugenics, breeding people to become superior.
You're not breeding them; they choose to breed.
Okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying though. It's no matter if they choose to or
You
not.
just give them the possibility. You just give them the freedom of association.
It's okay, but there's positive. That's positive freedom, and there's positive and negative freedom.
The term breed equates us with animals. I don't like the term breed.
Okay,
But
then
anyway.
relations. What do you want to call it? So we can talk about it. I don't care what we call it.
An emotional connection.
Okay, these emotional connections that happen, right? You're not giving them freedom of association, right? Because if in a worldview where we were all ethnostates, you could never go have freedom of association.
Yeah, if everything was an ethnostate, but there will be neutral zones.
So you believe in multicultural societies, other places, just
you,
not in America.
Just to give you a picture. Are you a liberalist?
No, I'm not a fucking liberalist.
It doesn't matter if you're a liberalist.
No, I'm not a liberalist.
You want people to only have the choice to associate with everyone. We want people to have both choices to associate with everyone and only their race.
I don't care if you. Okay, yeah, but you already have the choice to only associate with your race.
No, you don't.
How do you not?
You can't have a region for only your people, for only your race.
You can't have a what?
You can't have a region for only your race. This is why
region.
This is why white flight exists.
I mean, you could go somewhere and start a region.
No, you can't. It's illegal.
Not necessarily. I'm talking about. I'm not talking about in the United States. I'm talking about like outside of it. You can go start.
You want us to give up the continent? You want us to give up the continent, really?
No, I don't care if you give up the continent or not. But if you want to be segregated, if you want to be segregated, then you're either going to like separate the United States in a way.
Segregated in your country.
I don't want you in my country. First of all, are you a United States citizen? Just curious.
No, I'm not.
Then why are you arguing for the United States being an
like
ethno-state?
Citizen?
No.
What?
No, I don't get how you can argue for the United States politics like that.
Have you argued for the politics of a country?
I've criticized them. Yes.
Oh, so this is what I'm doing. I'm criticizing those who do not believe in an ethno-state in America.
Well, are you going to move to the ethno-state in America when it's there? Just curious.
I don't know if I will move to the ethno state. I will move to America just because of the free speech laws, but I will move back to Greece again.
Yeah, free speech
I'm
laws.
not going to become a citizen of America and have my children there.
Would you
I
have
want
dual
to live in Greece.
citizenship or no?
I don't think so, no.
Then how? Wait, so you just have like
I
a
mean, it
visa
depends
for
on how it
work or
works. I
something?
don't know the legalities of it.
Ah, God, dude.
I'm going to be voting in Greece.
You're Greek. You're Greek?
I'm not going to be. I'm not going to be voting for America. I don't
Yeah.
want. I'm against people of other nations voting in
Well,
the nations they immigrate.
I'm really curious then. Like, have you ever been to America?
Nope.
Well, okay. It kind of. I would like you to come to America and experience it before you say all these things about America, because there it just
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
work.
a completely anecdotal argument. It's not an
I
argument.
know it's anecdotal, but it'd be nice if you did to help your arguments. Because I notice a lot of the alt-right doesn't live in America, but
So
tends to
listen.
speak like,
If I come to America, which I will,
okay, yeah.
and I use my experience there, they will just tell me it's anecdotal experience. I still have to use statistics. I cannot learn anything. I cannot learn anything new that I can use in debate.
I'm not
Just
saying
by
use
going
it in
to America.
debate. It just gives you new perspective on things when you
No,
go
you said
somewhere
argument.
else.
You said help your argument.
Yeah, it would
You
help
cannot
your
help
argument
my
because you'd
argument.
have new perspectives. Not like you would use these
Perspectives can be
arguments, but it
communicated.
would strengthen your arguments because you've been there and seen
Perspectives
things.
can be communicated. If
Yeah.
you are in
I'm
America and
asking you
you
to
can't
communicate it.
communicate your perspective there, then it is your weakness, and it should be you that should strengthen yourself to communicate this perspective
What are you
instead
saying
of
is my
me
weakness?
just traveling there to get it.
Dude, I didn't try and make it an argument of fact. It's not a fact if you go there and visit and then learn new things. I'm saying it would just be
You want to do
helpful.
that, so we agree.
And I wish you would before
But
you
I
talk
want to
on
do
it.
that, so we agree, I guess.
Good, yeah. But, like, as a person, can we both agree that eugenics and tribalism form the majority of the alt-right's, like, beliefs? Can we agree on
I
that?
don't know what you mean by eugenics.
Eugenics. Do you know what eugenics is?
I know what eugenics is, but
That's
many
what I'm
people
talking
don't.
about. So then define.
Many people think killing people when I say eugenics.
Well, we both agreed that's not what eugenics is.
Yeah, but if I say that,
This
it
is-
will be clipped out, and they will say, "Oh, look, this guy wants to kill people." No, I don't.
This is something that I just proposed that you believe in eugenics, and I said it's not that. So if someone misrepresents you, then I will argue against them. If someone clips this,
By the way, eugenics is already. Eugenics is already used.
I'm in some places, yes. In other places,
No,
no.
not in some places.
And I don't necessarily think
eugenics is
voluntary eugenics is a bad thing. I think involuntary eugenics is a bad thing. Which, since I kind of want to live in America, hold on.
Guy, listen. Eugenics happens when you're I don't think you're even a baby when it happens. It's not voluntary.
It's voluntary in some sense with you decide who to have relations with. That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about applied eugenics.
I wasn't talking about the breeding aspect. I was talking about
Okay, well that's different.
genetically modifying.
Of course, no, you don't choose your genes. What?
Yeah,
I never said that.
The parents choose to remove.
Yeah, the parents choose your eugenics.
An illness, a genetic caused illness, and this is called genetics.
Now,
eugenics.
I gotta ask, if you like the whole kind of thing where you say black people are less intelligent, right? Do you agree with that on average?
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't see why you would have a problem with that.
No. Well, here's what I want to say. If you if you do a study on two groups of people, you will always find that one on average is going to have more intelligence, right?
Yep.
Or less intelligence. So say I did a study, right, on Irish people, like Irish ancestry, and then found that Irish people were smarter than Germans on average. What would that mean? And then Germans maybe were more prone to criminality in my study.
Mm-hmm.
Should we kick the Germans out?
Kick Germans out.
That's what I'm asking.
By the way, from Ireland, they would have the right to. and from Germany as well. This is why I'm an ethno-nationalist and not a pan-Europeanist. This is another difference.
Hold on, wait, what?
As an ethno-nationalist, I want
Okay.
ethno-states to be for the native group of its country. The native group in America just happens to be whites in general. I'm not a pan-Europeanist because
I
I
mean,
want the white
technically,
people
first
in
it was
America.
Anglo-Saxon, but okay.
That's a myth. No,
That's
that
not a
was
myth.
actually a myth.
That's not a
No,
myth.
it was. It was.
It was not a myth. I
But
mean,
even if it
the
wasn't,
majority was
even
Anglo-Saxon that formed the United States in the
even
beginning.
if it wasn't, we now have the data to know that all whites in Europe cluster in the same space. But
So
still,
just because they class them now like that, it means that all throughout history, that's just whatever.
no, I mean genetically.
Genetically.
So if they wanted whites, they would be clustered in them. But here's the other thing. You said about what would it mean if a group had the higher IQ or more criminality? It would
Mm-hmm.
mean that a gap would be created, and it would cause the groups to cluster with each other and create hostility against one another. In social psychology, simply identifying yourself with a group, simply realizing that you are part of a group, makes you more hostile towards the outgroup.
Of course.
It's not something
That's
you can fix.
tribalism, and tribalism has existed, but white people have never been unified in tribalism ever.
No, because white people in America have already mixed with each other. They are just, a European mix. There is nothing to destroy there. This is
I
what
mean,
they are.
my father is completely Belgian, so that's not entirely
But
true.
yeah, you are destroying your heritage, but
I'm destroying my
you're not actually
heritage.
destroying it. You are just removing
I
one possibility.
So you're saying my parents destroyed their own heritage by them breeding, or sorry, relating
But
to each
no, aren't you saying they brought you to America?
other. No. My grandfather came from America after escaping a war-torn Belgium.
But you are still completely Belgian.
No, I'm part Irish, part Belgian, and a little bit Cherokee.
I see. So yes, they did destroy part of their identity by not choosing to have a full Belgian to have back in their country. But the country
Well,
still
I'm
exists.
I'm
It's
I'm
not
glad
irreversible.
you're not kind of like projecting that everyone in America is white then, because they wouldn't
How
be
are you?
just white people, right? They'd be subsets. Because I still know pure Belgian people in this
Yeah,
country.
yeah. It is a chaotic mix. There is no point in trying
So,
to salvage a specific part
well,
of
on
whiteness
that
in
on
America.
that note, though, should the Belgians go back to Belgium that are purebred?
If they
Because that's
if
their
they
nation,
want,
right?
there is no reason for white Americans to kick them out, but the Belgians have a reasons to go back to help their nation
Why is there no reason for white people to kick them out?
because there is no differentiated white identity there to be destroyed by pure-blooded Belgians.
What do you mean? Because
They
they could,
already have Belgian in them.
if Belgians all got together, right, form their own Belgian group, then from your premise that two groups will dislike each other if they identify with each other, right? They would have conflict, and then they should go back. The purebred Belgium should go back.
No,
That
because genetically, they could still, what's the word? They could still, let's say, be mistaken for a member of the other group. They could still interchange their positions.
they could be.
You can do
I
that
mean,
with
my
religion. You can
to
do
be
that with
real
gender.
honest with you, my
You cannot do that with race. This is the problem. Here is what makes
it.
race
I mean,
interesting.
Belgian is a race by the standard of race realism.
It is,
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
but it is a race.
Exactly. So they're gonna have
It's
conflict.
not a race. Here's what you don't understand. It is a race, um, a subcategory of white. It's not separate from white. Do you
But
see
you
the
said
difference?
when two people identify that they are different and they form groups based on it, they will have conflict.
Yeah, and obviously
They are
there
two
are
different
levels.
groups.
Obviously there are levels to this. Yes.
So then, when these two groups come into conflict in the United States because they are pure Belgium and not a mix of all the different European countries, right? They will have conflict.
Yeah.
So then,
Yeah. It used
according
happen.
to the
That's
standard,
supposed to
they
happen
should
too.
be
Yeah.
sent back to Belgium.
No, they shouldn't be sent back to Belgium until they create this group.
Well, you're holding. Well, I'm saying they're going to create the group, right? That's how that works. You're going to create groups with people you relate to with more. That's how tribalism works.
The other reason for this is that it is not irreversible. If Belgians create a group, they still don't create a different demographic. The demographic is still
Yeah, they're the
compatible with the white
Belgium
identity of the nation.
demographic. It just depends how you look at
This
this.
is exactly. You think I disagree with you, but I don't. I'm telling you, this would create conflict.
Yeah.
This is why you would not bring a large part of their. You would not bring large numbers of them in your country because then they would create a cluster and they would oppose you.
Well, I'm saying that will happen in the United States. People break off into groups naturally. I truly do believe in that. People are tribal. I don't think it's a good thing people are tribal like
But
the
I'm telling
alt-right
you,
does.
this is exactly like the argument I used before when you asked you can if you can break races to 500 groups. This is exactly
Mhm.
why it doesn't make sense to separate into 500 groups, especially in America, because in America it doesn't create such a problem in small numbers. They still mix away into the larger white identity of America.
How does it not create problems in small numbers? Throughout history, that's totally wrong. Like, the fucking Anglo-Saxon English hated
It's
hated
proven
Germans
exactly
and
by the
Irish
fact.
people. In fact, a lot of Irish people got here through indentured servitude. Half slavery.
Was that a small minority? Because
No.
most Americans I hear still have some Irish heritage. This is not a small minority. This is a very large part of the population, and this is
Well,
why.
I'm saying throughout history it's proven you wrong that, like,
No,
these...
it's proven me right. I'm telling
How's it
you,
proven
when
you
there is
right?
a large population, even from white groups, then yes, they will cluster and create some conflict. But white groups all have always, even after this, uh,
Wait, are you saying they cause less
become
conflict?
part of the American culture. We don't have this conflict anymore. But this does not happen
Because other
exactly with
groups
the.
showed up. But
There
if
is
you
a
took
tipping
away the
point.
other
There is
groups,
a,
you'd
listen,
go back to the
there
part
is a tipping.
where
There
you
is a
identified
tipping point.
differently.
There is a tipping point
There's a
that
tipping
no
point.
race in Europe is beyond. Every other race is beyond it. And what I mean is that they always cluster. They never integrate. But all whites integrate, which means they are before the
All whites
tipping
do
point.
not
You understand
integrate.
what I mean?
That is
What?
untrue. There are whites who still consider themselves not white. They'll yell at you and call themselves German or Italian.
You're talking about exceptions. You never hear about
It's
this.
what do you
You
mean you
never
never
hear
hear about
about
it?
this.
Go ask people.
I
What
do
the
ask
fuck?
people. This is what we talk about all the time. It doesn't happen.
It does happen.
The most you will ever hear is that they
And
will
it will
say
happen
this guy
more
is white.
according to the
This is
standard
like
that when you
5%
get
of
rid
the
of the enemy, you're going to find a new enemy, right? When you get rid of the other group that identifies itself differently from your group, then essentially
This is the futility.
you're making
No, listen.
people
This is the
then say,
futility.
okay, we're all the same
This is
group.
like saying, this is
White
saying,
people are unified
maybe
because there's
that
other
maybe-
groups
because maybe
that are very
Italians
different.
and Greeks don't get along in the future, even though you can barely tell who is who. It's literally the only two
Italians
groups that
and
can tell
Greeks.
apart most of the time.
Do Italians and Greeks get
Just
along
because
really
that
well?
may happen in the future, we should not protect whites from white flight today.
From
And if you
white
don't
flight.
protect them, by the way, if you don't want to protect them, here is the choices you have. Either they mix away, they flee, they get attacked, or they fight back. And in this case, you have race war.
What I'm saying is that when you
You're
get
asking for race war.
no, I'm saying that when you get rid of black people and every other subset of race that isn't considered in your view white,
What do you
then
mean get rid of them?
the white
What do
people
you
will
mean get rid of
realize
them? They
that
are
they
all
aren't
different.
all the same, right? And then they will have conflict. And then,
They don't.
according
They
to
doesn't have this
the
conflict. They
ethno,
did not
because
have
there are other races in the country that are vastly different from them.
Did this problem exist
Yes.
before 1965?
Yes.
No, it didn't.
Yes, it did.
Just making this up.
I'm not making
By
it
the
up.
way, I know
Race
I know of
relations
an
were
occasion where it
race relations were horrible between
look,
Irish, German, and Anglo-Saxon people. Like, what the fuck are you saying? You thought they all liked each other before then in America?
First of
No,
all-
that's very wrong.
First of all, you have to prove that, because if it was true, they would be using it all the time. And second of all, this is very consistent with my point that two large identifiable populations can have this conflict. But as I said, because they are before the tipping point, they still integrated and they don't have this problem anymore.
Before
However-
there was no
however, the
tipping
problem
point.
with black-
People
however-
always
however,
were tribal
will you
according to your
stop?
own ideology.
However, the division with black people has gotten worse. They attack.
Well, of
they
course,
attack
because
them
we're
more and
breaking
more.
off into tribes. I don't support that at all.
What
I
do you mean?
think tribalism is
It
a
doesn't matter if you support
poor
that. It's what
thing.
is happening and what we're defending against. It is
well,
a
it's
phenomenon
happening,
that
and you're
happening.
making it worse. You're not making it better. You're making people
We're
more tribal. You're
creating an
starting more
alternative.
conflict.
We are creating an alternative. All the extremists, when you create these ethno-states, all the extremists will go there.
All the
neutral
extremists.
zones would be paradise, according to you.
Oh my God. I didn't say it would be paradise, but you're making the divide worse. You're going to cause a massive scale conflict. You and the far left are going to cause a massive scale conflict with each other. You are causing it. You are the two causes.
I was going to say something else, and you interrupted me again.
You can. I didn't. I spoke for like half a second. What? Are you kidding?
You did not speak about for half a second. What the hell were you talking about? You interrupted me and forgot about.
I talked about how people.
I was talking about.
Well, one, I don't believe tribalism is okay. Like it's not a good thing. It causes conflict. Why would you want conflict? It is an argument.
Like
you agree yourself tribalism causes conflict, correct?
So, tribalism exists already. You cannot erase it.
You can try. Why can't you try to get rid of tribalism?
Why? Why would you?
Because there'd be less conflict.
So here is we have to pick one of these two things. Okay. We can either convince all races equally that tribalism is wrong, or we can only convince white people to also defend themselves.
Again, white people are going to turn tribal when you just have white people.
Which one seems more likely to do what
I don't think turning the United I don't think you turning the United States into an
to their healthy state.
Listen to me.
Which seems more possible.
Listen to me. I don't think turning the United States into an ethno-state is more practical than getting people on the same page about tribalism. I do not think that's the truth. I think if you went somewhere else with no people and started your own ethno-state, then maybe that would work nicely. Eventually, you'd have tribal people who lived in different parts. Like if you all lived on an island, right? And you had 3 sections of the island and they all formed different cultures over time, even though at the beginning they were all white, then you'd have tribalism again. If you have a pure group. What do you mean?
By the way,
there's no examples of this.
You said that there were cases where there was tribalism and conflict between white groups in America.
Yeah.
First of all, that is false.
That is not false.
But cases in which it happened include my own group. We actually did what Albania did to us.
Okay.
We sent a lot of prisoners to America, to a certain area, and it increased crime extremely.
Well, most America.
So there was a lot of conflict.
Hold on. Most.
So yeah, if you actually send a population of criminals to a population that has a large percentage of violent people in it.
Well, couldn't you say through genetics then that all of America is just full of criminals? Because outcasts and criminals were the ones who settled here. It wasn't just like the average day normie dude, right? It was outcast and criminals. They were ostracized from the society and they weren't put there. They chose to leave, some of them. Some of them didn't. And they were sent to America. So couldn't you say through eugenics that America is a criminal society because we have criminal genes?
What the heck? We have
that doesn't make sense to you?
Because we settled here?
The United States is full of misfits and criminals in the beginning, right? And then they breed together, and they continue to do criminality. And even worse in your case, black people breed with them who are somehow even worse criminals. So then you're making super criminals throughout time.
You're saying they are criminals because they fled religious persecution?
Do you believe in the criminal gene thing? Like criminality is through genetics? Can be through genetics?
Maybe. What's your point?
Yeah, well, that's my point. The people who settled in America were... So if you believe in this stuff, right, really hard, then you have to accept that it was all like misfits and criminals breeding in America or having relations in America for years.
I don't see the proof of this.
You don't see the proof?
No.
You just said you sent criminals here yourself. You just said that.
I talked about a small part of the population. I'm saying that in one area, the Greek government opened up the prisons and sent criminals there. Of course, this will cause conflict.
But what I'm saying is the United States was formed...
A few thousand people out of 300 million.
Listen to me. No, no. The United States was formed by misfits and criminals in the beginning.
Where is your proof of that? Where is your proof of that?
Because that's who came here. Like the Puritans who came over, right? They were misfits. No one wanted them there. Everyone hated them in Europe. That's why they came to the United States. Do you not know basic history?
Because in Europe they persecuted the group, they had religious persecution. The victims of the persecution were actually misfits. Do you hear yourself?
Wait, what did you just say? The victims of the persecution? No, yeah, they were misfits. Because they were being persecuted because they were assholes. You think Puritans were nice, gentle, kind people? Do you know what the Puritans believed?
They were being persecuted, but they were the assholes.
They were being persecuted because they were such snobs, dog. Like, look it up.
Snobs. They were snobs, so they were criminals. So
I mean, they chose to leave, man. They were just being persecuted. They chose to leave. They made that choice.
Criminals, you fucking idiot.
No, but criminals came here too. It's like I said, misfits and criminals. I didn't just say criminals. But according to eugenics, when you breed a bunch of criminals together, you're gonna get a criminal population.
Do you think a poor criminal, because criminals are not usually the richest, has the money to move to America? No,
do I think? No, they were sent here. They were sent here in the. Are you kidding? Do you not know basic history?
By your logic,
indentured servitudes, indentured servants, criminals, and misfits.
Where is your proof of this? Where is your proof?
It's history, dog. This isn't contested. This is not contested. This is not contested. I'm telling you now.
Prove it.
I'm saying you're wrong. Go Google it. I'm not gonna do all the work for you. It's like people denying that 90% of Americans were killed with disease. That is a historical fact. No one disputes it.
A historical fact.
Yes.
That people who came here were
misfits, criminals, and indentured servants made up the majority of people who colonized America. Sure, it wasn't all of them, but it was a majority. There was a majority of criminals, misfits, and indentured servants.
Holy fucking shit.
You really don't believe that? Well, hold on, I got another question for you. Do you believe in the Holocaust?
What the fuck do you mean I believe in the Holocaust? I believe that a genocide happened, yes.
Okay, because I'm just asking because some of the alt-right don't believe that. Like, it happened as it happened. You know that, right?
So what?
Oh, I'm saying that's like a major division there that needs to be addressed. Like, you guys need to get all on board that the Holocaust really did happen and that they were trying to ethnically cleanse. I'm not saying you support it.
I'm not sure if I should even be answering this.
Why?
By principle, I probably shouldn't be answering a question that has an illegal answer.
That has a what answer?
Just to protest it. Just to protest it, I should probably...
Why? That's another problem I have with the alt-right. You're also offended by everything. I'm trying to ask you about your ideas and debate them with you civilly.
I was offended?
I asked the other day on YouTube, a YouTube comment, I said, after one of those debates with Mike Enoch, I was like, so does the alt-right support... No, just listen to me. Just let me finish my point. An illegal answer.
Do you realize how cowardly that is?
How is that cowardly? I asked you if you believed in the Holocaust.
Because you are using the force of the state.
What force of the state am I using on you? What force of the state am I using on you? How did I force you?
The force of the state to make it illegal to say no.
I'm not making it illegal to say no. You can say you don't believe in it, but I think that's stupid.
It is illegal, you fucking idiot.
In your country?
Yes.
Well, I don't know that. I think that's a stupid law then.
How are you so retarded that you do not? Everyone fucking knows that.
In Greece?
Yes.
I don't look up Greece politics. I don't care about Greece. I do not care about your country. I'm sorry.
In most of Europe it happens. Of course you should.
I know in like Scotland you can get in trouble for it. In Germany, yeah. But you don't live in those countries. Well, like Count Dankula is what I'm talking about, right?
What?
Like the whole Count Dankula thing where he's getting like fucking persecuted for that shit? For the Nazi dog or whatever? Doesn't he live in Scotland? Yeah, so I know that you can get in trouble there. I didn't know in Greece. Excuse me if I don't know every law of your country. I do not care about Greece. I'm not claiming to know about Greece. So I didn't know that was an illegal question for you. I apologize, and I feel sorry for you because that's a shitty thing to do to you. But I didn't know. Well, I am sorry because I think it's stupid, it's illegal, and I think you're being oppressed.
If you believe in free speech,
I believe in free speech.
How can you not know about the most extreme case of violation of free speech in the West?
Because I don't care about Greece. Again, Why are you focusing on this so much? I do not care about Greece's laws and shit, dog. I care about where I live.
I'm surprised that you did not know about this.
Why are you surprised? I told you I've never done research into it for Greece. I think free speech is good. I think people should be able to say whatever they want as long as they're not inciting a fucking riot.
Into the most extreme case. Everyone knows that.
Not everyone, no.
Everyone just knows that.
You could say, hey, do you know about this one case in Michigan? Well, no, you don't. I live in Michigan, by the way.
This is not
by
just
Detroit.
one case, I keep telling you. It is the top case.
It's the top case.
It is the one thing everyone knows. And you didn't.
Dog.
That's why I was surprised.
That's so stupid. That's like, you're basically just...
Oh, buddy,
No, it's really stupid that you're saying that to me. I'm not calling you stupid. I said what you're saying to me right now is stupid because you're claiming I don't know about this, and that's some sort of issue.
Get to your next point.
Well, you kind of derailed us with that. I don't even know what I was talking about the last minute. Because you derailed me acting like I was stupid for not knowing some stupid law in your country.
Hey, Chat, can you hear me? Remind us what he was talking about before the Holocaust.
They probably don't even know, Doug.
Oh, actually, you were talking about the Holocaust. You were
yeah, and it's illegal for you to say it. So that's okay. Then I won't ask you that question. But
no, listen.
I mean, if you
were trying to make another point. You were trying to make the point that because a lot of the alt-right.
Yeah, I'm saying you guys should get on the same page about that. It's important.
Why?
It is important that you get historical facts correct.
In your opinion, it is correct. In theirs, it isn't.
What did you say? Hold on, you said that really fast.
In your opinion, it is a historical fact. In their opinion,
it's not an opinion.
By the way,
it happened.
By the way, most of them believe in it. They just don't believe in some details.
Well, a lot of them believe that they were just trying to be sent to Israel, and that they just starved and shit, and that
it is a fact that they initially tried to send them there. But why is there a problem with that?
There's a problem with it because then they genocided them, and people do not believe in that. That's true, right? I'm not saying you do, and and I'm saying you should all get on the same page. I'm saying you're on the right side here of your group, if you believe in the Holocaust. Not that I'd ask you that question now.
Relevant?
How is it relevant?
Are you saying this makes them?
Conspiracy theorist? Yeah.
Immoral? Does it make them immoral to not believe in a historical fact?
Does it make them moral? I'm saying it's silly not to believe in it.
Immoral.
I'm saying it shows that they have not done the proper research or are using faulty logic to conclude that it was a false thing that happened. That is what I'm trying to conclude, and I think it's important to have stable logic.
You're saying they have not done the proper research, but
yeah.
They did not know the most basic
about Greece.
Things about this.
I know it about Germany. What the fuck?
You should know about. Do you know? Greece?
I should know everything. I should know every random free speech issue in the world.
No, this is exactly.
Tell me China's exact policy on free speech right now. Every little detail right now.
What?
Tell me
what did you ask?
I said, tell me every little detail about China's free speech policy right now. You have 10 seconds. Go.
Why the fuck would I know about that?
That is what I'm saying. You got. I'm about to be done talking to you because you keep bringing this up like it's some sort of point, and it's not a point. That I don't know some random ass law in your country.
It is the top case. When you learn about the subject,
it's the top case in the world.
The first thing you learn is the most extreme case.
Germans. That's perspective, though. You're using your opinion that's the most extreme case.
You are saying, of course,
it's your opinion.
Name me one case. Name me one case that is more extreme.
Germany.
What?
Germany, where they can't talk about it all, and they have people shutting down Facebook groups, dog.
I'm not talking about Greece.
I'm talking about Germany. I'm talking about Germany right now.
Try to keep up.
There's a lot of places where free speech is being deterred. Just because I don't know about your one example, that doesn't prove shit. I really can't believe you. You were actually reasonable in this debate up until this moment. I think your logic is flawed, but now you're just being like, oh, you didn't know about this? Well, this proves that you don't know about anything. What the fuck?
There was a lot of stuff you did not know about.
What didn't I know about? What did I not know about besides the whole free speech thing?
You did not know. Oh, you did not know that the Indians did not own that they did not own the land.
They owned the land.
They did not own the land.
They didn't have a piece of paper dog. Like, what the fuck are you saying?
They did not claim it, buddy.
What is claiming
They did
something
not
to you?
claim it, son.
If I okay, hold on. If I take just a rock from space and say it's mine, is it mine? No one ever claimed it
They didn't live
before.
in it. They didn't live in it. When we settled, it became ours because we lived in it.
They
And
did
we
live
didn't
in it.
take their land
They
because
lived.
they lived in it.
They lived in it.
They didn't live
And
in
also,
it. They didn't
the
live
most
in all of
extreme
the US.
case of free speech, just like that person in the chat said, is fucking Korea, North Korea.
I said in the West. Is North Korea in the West?
Oh my god.
Is
Are
North
you
Korea
serious?
In the West?
I
Did
didn't.
say in the
Well,
West
one, I
either?
didn't hear you say in the West, and two, I'd argue Germany has more issues with free speech than your country, probably.
Of course
I'm not
it does.
sure.
I'm not.
Well, then how are you the most extreme case? I'm like 2 seconds away,
Times
dog,
I
from
have
being
to tell
done.
you, I'm not talking about the country. I am talking about the law that also exists in Germany, and the
Dude.
common denominator is the EU. Now I'm sure you know that Greece is
Look.
Greece is in the EU,
I'm aware Greece is in the EU, yeah.
and you do know that the EU has a lot has part in this hate speech laws, right?
Did you say did I say I agree with any of those?
No, Jesus.
I'm saying
Christ.
Germany has worse cases. I'm going to the bathroom. If you want to
course it
stop
has worse
talking
cases.
about
It's
this
the worst.
stupid incident, I had no idea, or this stupid law, I had no idea about it. I'll talk to you. But I'm going to the bathroom right now. I'll be right back.
I'm not just calling you a retard because you didn't know it.
God.
I'm telling you that you cannot tell these people they are being silly about something when you don't know the most basic thing about it. Because this is what gets them into this area of research. Just seeing the people that go to jail for it. This is what drives them to question so many things. Because if anyone who talks about it goes in jail, holy shit, what else do I not know about? I think that makes sense, don't you? Are you there?
All right. I'm back. I made my wait, hold on. I made my you made me shit myself?
Yeah. Didn't you go to the bathroom?
Yes, I went to the bathroom to take a piss.
Oh, so, okay. I made you pee yourself.
I had to piss because I drank 3 bottles of water this
You're
morning.
actually arguing about
Well, you're saying you made me piss myself, dog.
it. I can't
Like
believe
what?
you're arguing about an insult.
Hmm?
nothing. Just go
I
to the next point.
I mean, what do you want to talk about now? I don't really care at this point what we talk
I don't
about. We
know.
can talk about whatever
Just
you want to.
question me.
I,
Just
I mean,
question
my
me.
main contentions have been pretty much solved at this point. I mean, I, I,
Yes.
I mean, there's a million questions out there. That's off the top of my head. I can't think of anything. If you want to say something, sure. Yeah.
Ask the chat. Ask the chat. What do they want me to answer?
Yeah, chat. What do you want them to answer?
Are Greeks white?
Are Greeks white? Do people in Greece not defecate? That's a question. Are you,
Yeah, we defecate all over you.
you like to shit on people? I didn't know Greece
Yeah,
people had that kink in their genetics, dog. Oh
Oh,
God,
that's so racist. I
I'm
disavow you. You
oh,
too
I'm
racist.
racist now.
Yeah.
Oh God,
What else is there? Nothing else?
doesn't look like it. He's Canadian. Yeah, fuck you. Canadians are predisposed to healthcare. They have it in their genes.
Oh, yeah, that's the fucking leaf.
Is that right? Is that correct?
Mm.
Anyway, man, I really don't get how you can argue that Mike Enoch isn't arguing for reparations, though, overall. Can we just get that straight? Like, I'm not saying you are or the alt-right altogether is. Probably some don't, but some do. And Mike Enoch specifically, can we both agree he's arguing for reparations?
No.
Well, I
No,
mean,
because land
like
is not
exactly.
reparations. No, because land is not I made several points
Okay.
to explain the difference.
Well, we're not going to agree, but what can we agree on here? Let's think of some things we can agree on.
Diversity is bad.
I don't really give a fuck, to be honest. I think tribalism is bad. Like contesting tribalism. Can we agree both that that's an issue? Tribes that
Contested
contest each other
tribalism.
in a nation, right?
I'm not sure about that because here's the thing.
Do you? Okay.
Tribalism. Anyway, yeah. I guess we're trying just to not to argue, but find common ground.
I mean,
But
yeah,
just
I
to
think
make
we
a point
both
about
agree
it.
that when two tribes fight, it's an issue. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
Yeah, so that's our common
but
ground
that's
right
a
there.
matter of This is a matter of how far you take tribalism. If you take it as far as to aggress against others, but tribalism in itself can be it can be argued that it's responsible for the diversification of biology. Maybe we would not exist without tribalism because think of it that way. If
Oh,
at
I
some
have no
point,
doubt we wouldn't exist without tribalism. I just think we're past it at this point. Yeah,
okay,
no,
maybe
it played a giant part in our survival as a species. Yeah, no, that's entirely true. I don't disagree.
I'm not just talking about survival. I'm talking about diversification in biology. For example,
What do you mean?
imagine the first species that existed. Maybe even
Mm-hmm.
microbes. You can't really call it tribalism at this point, but practically the parallel they had. If
Mm-hmm.
they did not separate and keep away from each other, but either by accident or consciously, not microbes, of course, uh, they would remain in a they would their evolution would collapse in a single line. We
But you're
would
talking
not.
about like what are they fucking called? The like first species of like kind of a man, the dumb ones, the
No, not
fucking
man,
cavemen.
not man. I'm talking about any species um, far back enough to make it basically impossible for us to exist if they did not diversify biologically. Because if they did not separate and kept away from each other, they would keep being one race. One
Which species are you talking about though? What do you mean?
It doesn't matter. It could be any of them that we descend from.
That matters.
Because if they no, it matters. Because if they collapsed in a single line, then think of all the
Well, I'm
million
not
all the
arguing
millions.
being in different places will change you genetically. Like, what
No,
do
no,
you?
no, no. Listen, my point is, think of a species really far back.
Yeah.
That species, it's that we descend from.
Okay,
If
sure.
that species diversified, It broke off into separate groups. And they kept away from each other, and this caused millions of other species to happen.
Yeah.
Now, if this did not happen, if this tribalism did not exist,
Mm-hmm.
then the possibility of humans existing would be one in as many species diversified from that one species. I'm saying that
I've
this
never argued
tribalism is
against that.
part of what made us possible, and is part of what can make
Mm-hmm.
something even
So you're
stronger possible.
so yeah, you're trying to evolve us into superhumans through tribalism, right? That's the idea.
It's a case like it is a case like JF makes. Why would we limit ourselves to the evolution of just one line when we could create something as far
We're
smarter
not
than us
limiting.
as we are to that far back
You'd
piece?
you'd be limiting yourselves in that way because you're staying in one place altogether. You're not creating anything new. You're just continuing the same genes.
No, I'm talking about the principle. I'm talking about the
Well, yeah,
instinct
but
principle.
that the principle doesn't work with your whole form of government because you'd all just be breeding with those people. You'd never get any genetic diversity anymore, right? You'd all be in the same
No, it
place.
doesn't matter.
You'd all breed with the
That,
exact same
that
people.
that is because we already occupy all the land. There is nothing to move to. This is the only
Well,
thing
that's what I'm
changing.
saying though. You're not changing anything, so that doesn't hold up.
Yes, but that doesn't matter. The point is
I mean, it matters a lot because that's the whole argument for tribalism, right? Right there.
there is two types of ethics. There is two types of ethics. There is
And
ethics
eugenics.
that you can derive from something like the NAP, logically derived ethics, and there are
Mhm.
instinctual ethics. For example, an example of instinctual ethics is incest. What is the moral justification? Uh, why do we call incest wrong? For example, between a sterile father and his adult daughter,
A
we still
sterile
call it
father,
wrong.
his adult father.
What?
I thought the whole premise for incest being wrong in the United States is that it causes children with what is it called,
Yeah,
disabilities
this is why
essentially.
I said this is why I
Why
said a
is
sterile
sterile?
father.
What does that mean? I think that's gross,
It,
but I think that's because I have a preconception of what that is.
it's instinctual. Even animals have it.
Animals commit incestuous acts all the time.
Yeah, and we do as well.
So you're saying
But
incest
we
is
still think, but
cool.
we still think it is. We still feel it is wrong. There is still an overwhelming
But that's not.
majority of us that
We're
feel
not
it is wrong.
instinctually inclined to believe incest is wrong, though.
Yes, we are.
No,
Of
we
course we
aren't.
are.
That we have a notion that it's wrong because we've seen the effects of it, and people tell us
No,
it's
well,
wrong.
this is where we disagree. This is
Animals
where we
don't.
disagree.
Animals instinctively don't think about incest.
No, they actually do. There is
Well, then why do they fuck each other? What, they don't think it's
for the
wrong?
same reason we do, because there are exceptions. Because
There's
there
a
are people. Because there are always members of a group that go against even the
animals
instinctual
commit incest all the time.
the instinctual ethics are simply a trend.
Like
Yes.
do you know how like incestually bred huskies? I have a husky. She's incestually bred to keep her pure. You
Yes,
know
I
that,
keep
right?
telling you, it happens in humans as well. I'm just explaining the justification of tribalism as a moral concept.
Well, you're saying that we have this natural That's like the same thing. We have a natural inclination to form into tribes, but that doesn't mean tribes are okay.
Let me
What?
ask you this then. Let me ask you this. If you had a relative,
You just broke your own argument, dude.
no, I didn't. If you no, I'm just telling you that there are always exceptions, but the point is that the trend still exists. There is something that keeps this trend existing. And let me give you this example.
Wait, what?
If you had a long lost relative,
Yeah.
not long lost, I mean at birth, you had no emotional connection to him. Would
Mm-hmm.
you would you grant him more rights personally?
What?
I don't mean political rights. I mean, would you give him more from your free time, more from your money to help him than a complete stranger?
A long lost cousin, right? This is what the.
Yeah.
Would I give him
Let's say
more of my
a
time?
brother.
Are you asking if I would fuck him
Would
or
you
if I would just give him my time? More
no?
than like would
Would
I
you prefer him?
over like my
Would
best
you help
friend or
more?
like over just a complete other stranger?
You have the chance to save either your long lost brother
Yeah.
that you do not know anything about, you had no emotional connection to him,
Okay.
or a complete stranger.
I mean, they're both complete strangers.
So there is no.
Except they're not, because the guy I know is my long lost brother. I know that he's my brother, so that changes the entire thing.
Why?
Because he's my brother, or whatever. What?
Why is that important? Because it is instinctual to help your own flesh and blood. There is no other reason.
Okay. Just because it's instinctual doesn't mean it. Like, if I knew the other guy was gonna cure cancer, I would save him.
No, they're equal in every other way.
But that's a stupid question. That doesn't exist in the world. There's no two equal people that contribute the most same positive good.
Between them. You don't.
Well, then I don't know he's my brother.
Your information about them.
That's ridiculous.
You have equal. They are equal in your information about them, meaning you don't know that any of them is better than the other. You have no indication of it. You just know that one is your brother.
I would try and figure out which one did the most good, dog. I don't see.
No, you can't.
No, that's ridiculous, though. That's a ridiculous thing because that doesn't happen in the world. Like, if I have to choose, if I have to choose between my criminal brother, right? Because you're gonna have preconceived notions of these people if you know them. If you don't know them, sure, but that's not how the world works. We don't live in a world where we don't know anybody. We know people. So if there's a black person that is going to contribute more good than a white person in the world, like he cures cancer, you'd save the black person, wouldn't you?
You are denying the use.
I'm not denying anything.
Of analogies.
I'm not denying the use of analogies. I'm saying when you use an analogy, you misrepresent it from your argument. Because your argument exists in the real world, where not everyone, right, is your brother you don't know.
World, the trolley problem doesn't exist.
The what
it is
problem?
Still a famous philosophical problem.
What are you saying? What?
In the real world, the trolley problem doesn't exist. It is still a famous philosophical problem.
The what problem doesn't exist?
The trolley problem, the one where you have.
Where you're gonna run people over with the trolley?
Yes.
Okay, no, I thought you meant in America we tend to say train because we're more used to trains here, but you know, I don't see how that justifies anything. What do you mean?
They don't have to exist. They don't have to exist in real life.
Well, that could exist in real life where you don't. There's three, but I wouldn't. What do you mean? What do you mean?
You are denying the existence of we can't use examples to derive a principle.
Well, it doesn't work for your argument for white nationalism, though. It doesn't work for that.
The only way to have a philosophical conversation is to create create hypothetical extremes.
I mean, that depends if you're doing it from the Aristotelian or Boolean standpoint. If you're talking about like philosophy,
the way you make philosophical conversation to derive principles is to make hypothetical extreme examples where there are exceptions.
I think you're using some.
To see what overriding principle.
See, there are
these exceptions.
There are two schools of thought in that, dude. Like some people.
It doesn't matter.
No, it's the Boolean. It does matter. It's contested in philosophy all the time. The Boolean and Aristotelian forms of thought. Because if something doesn't exist, then it is always invalid. I think it's the Aristotelian standpoint, or maybe the Boolean. I can't remember which.
It cannot exist. Not if it does not exist.
Yeah, it cannot exist because there's no situation where this could exist.
What? Of course it can. I can find your long lost brother,
throw him off a cliff,
make you a hostage, put them in front of you, and tell you to choose. Of course it can happen.
Tell me to choose. Yeah, but when you talk about your argument, right, and you use this to justify, like you should always just go save the white people because you're instinctually bound to. That doesn't mean it's right because the other person could cure cancer. Like if you think introspectively about it rather than just on the tip of your head.
And the white people could cure cancer too. But
I'm not saying they couldn't cure cancer.
You are just arguing that there is more weight.
There is moral weight to it because we have introspection. We're not animals. That's the difference.
You are just trying to see what is the limit of this weight.
I'm not saying that if you were just animal-brained and you saw your brother hanging off a cliff and then another person, you go save your brother. But we're not animal-brained. We have the ability to think introspectively. Therefore, your analogy is silly.
Listen, all you are saying is that there can exist another factor that is more important than race or blood. What I am saying is that
moral
that is
good.
Also a factor. What I am saying is that blood is also a factor.
Of
And
course
you
it's a
conceded
factor, but I
and
believe,
you conceded that.
I
You
believe,
you said the opposite in the
I
beginning.
never said it wasn't a
I
factor.
proved to you you
It's
were
just
wrong because
ridiculous
you said
because humans
exactly.
think introspectively. We're not fucking dogs who just go around humping our like our sisters or whatever. Like it's different.
By your logic, you're a dog because you chose
No,
your
I'm
brother.
not, because dogs can't think introspectively like humans can. So if I saw my
And you
brother
cannot
hanging
think
off a cliff,
introspectively because you chose your brother.
I chose my brother. I didn't choose my brother because the
Oh, fuck.
situation would be ridiculous, where you'd have
Did
to
choose
save
your
your
brother.
brother.
You said in this situation you would choose your brother. This
I
means
never said that.
even you fucking did.
Because I contest the validity of the situation, man. I contest the validity of what you're saying in
That is
comparison to
you
your
running
argument.
away from the problem.
I'm
That is
not
you
running
running
away from
from
it.
the problem.
I am not running away from it.
You actually did
I'm
answer
questioning
it.
the
You did
validity.
answer it.
I am
And
questioning
when you realized,
I am
when you realized
questioning
I was right,
the
you
validity.
just reverted back. You
I
just
never
reverted
said
back to
no.
lying again.
What do you mean? How did I say you were right? I'm saying you're wrong because you're missing the introspective part of the analogy, because you have introspection, right? You can think about why you do something. We're not animals. So an animal, right, would look and say, I got to save my pack mate, right? His brother or whatever. But a human can introspectively think about morality, right? Unless you're
You are
really
just
dumb.
putting more factors in.
I'm
You are
what?
just putting. You
Well,
are
that's
just
because
putting
without the
more
factors,
factors.
the analogy doesn't fit in with proper society.
Of course it does. You don't know anything
No, it
about
doesn't.
them.
I don't know anything about them.
I take you as a hostage.
My issue is you're using this to try and justify white nationalism somehow.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, it doesn't justify it because it's a
that you
faulty
deny
line
it
of
because you
thinking
don't
because
like
you're
it.
taking
You
out
just
introspection
admitted.
from the
You
analogy.
just admitted that you will not follow the logical rules of these examples
It's not
because
logical.
it leads to where you don't like.
It's
You know
illogical.
it. You know. You literally just admitted that I am right.
I did not admit you were right.
You said that the logical steps to this example.
It's
leads
faulty
to-
logic for a representation of what you're trying to compare it to.
You say it is faulty because no
It
one
is.
can take you as a hostage and tell you to choose between them. That's ridiculous.
No, it's faulty because it doesn't transfer into the real world properly, man. It doesn't.
Never explained
Because in
that.
real world we have introspection, right? We can look and see things that we don't have like our lizard brains completely controlling us. Because your lizard brain would say that,
I'm not
but
even
then you'd have
telling you to see them.
introspection.
I won't even let you see them. You will have
Don't let me
no
see them.
possibility to tell any difference between them.
It's still introspection, and that's such a silly thing to do. Now the question about the reason you're trying to compare this to the like train thing where you run people over, but that's different because there's one person on one track and three people on the other. You're asking between two different people, and one is my brother?
Yeah.
That's silly. It doesn't convey what you think it means, though. Of course everyone would save their brother because you told them they were your brother.
Exactly.
But that doesn't prove anything, is what I'm saying.
Exactly what I think it does.
My problem isn't with...
It conveys
Again,
that
the
there is
connection.
moral weight to blood connection.
Oh my god, dog. You're just conflating this to make it seem like that supports white nationalism. It doesn't. It supports... Like, if you just said a white person... Okay, the real argument here would be... Would you... No, listen to me.
Wait.
Okay, your alt-right views.
White nationalism.
I'm just saying. Fine, ethno-nationalism, whatever. It doesn't matter. What I'm saying here, if you told me one person... Hold on. If you told me one...
You are tribalistic.
Can I tell you... Of course people are tribalistic. I've never said people aren't tribalistic. I'm saying it's bad to succumb to those urges.
Admitted it has moral weight.
Does not have moral weight.
Yes, because you said you would choose your brother.
Oh my god. Listen to me. But the example is faulty. Just listen to me. Stop over-talking me right now, dog.
You won't fucking listen.
I am listening to you. What?
You are getting tricky.
Just
you are very tricky.
let me give you an example. If you tell me there's a black person and a white person, just fucking listen, dude. I don't get why you're not letting me speak. I thought we were having a conversation. You keep over-talking me.
Go on. I will allow it.
You will allow it. I will speak when I want to.
You
Ding dong doodle. Stop being a ding dong doodle. I'm not taking your permission. If you're gonna start doing this shit, I'm not talking to you. I'm really not.
How insecure are you?
You have my permission, sire. Kiss the ring. That's what you guys are all about. Kissing the fucking ring. You want power.
You literally can't take the joke.
what it
You
is.
cannot take it. This means you are insecure, by the way.
I can't take a
And
joke.
this is probably.
Would you be insecure? I mean, this is like dominance hierarchy. You are trying to get me to submit to you. That's what this is.
Why? It's a fucking joke, you idiot.
Not just a joke. This is important, like a social interaction. It's like if I looked you in the eyes and you looked away, that would mean you're submitting to me in a sense.
I give you my permission.
It's just ridiculous.
It's
Anyway,
verbal
back to my
support.
example. Listen to me. If you take a black person and a white person, put them in a separate room and say, which do I shoot? One's black, one's white. I wouldn't know what to
The
fucking
fuck
say.
shoot?
Because I have
need to
introspection
make
and
it
I don't know
gruesome.
anything else
Why
about
not
them.
say
My
it?
first question would be,
Make it-
what else is different
Why
about
say
them?
You're making it gruesome.
I'm making it gruesome? You said that you made the hostage situation thing. You're the one who
I
said that.
told you to save one,
Okay.
not shoot one.
Okay, then, no, I'm saying, okay, then fine, which one would you save? You're effectively shooting the other person. That's the whole point of the train theory. You're letting someone get hit by a train. That's the question.
You're talking about.
Are you
you're talking about
retarded?
the real
What the
world. In the real, you're fucking retarded. In the
Oh my
real
God.
world, shooting someone is not the same as saving someone else.
The
Psychological
moral
completely
question of pulling the lever is that, did you kill that other man or did you just save the three others? That's the moral question there. You understand that, right? That is the
different. Do
question.
you understand?
So it's
You
contested
completely-
whether or not you killed them.
It's exactly the opposite of what you think. It says exactly the opposite of what you think.
It doesn't say exactly the
moral-
opposite.
These hypothetical examples are given to prove exactly what I'm saying here. That
Okay,
shooting someone
Back
is
to
not
my
the same
example,
as
because
saving
you are
the
just
other.
plain out wrong on that because you don't understand. The question is whether or
don't
not
get
you
it.
killed the
Don't
person on the tracks that you left there. Did you kill them by saving the others? Or if you do nothing, did you kill the other three people and save the one person?
I'm talking about
That is
how
the
it
moral
registers
question
in
there.
Someone's brain. This is what I mean by
So,
talking about
okay,
reality.
but here's what, just to get back to the point, here's what I'm saying. Two people are hanging off a cliff, right? Black and white. I wouldn't know which to save. I'd have to ask them questions in that situation. I wouldn't just go save the white person. No, because I have introspected.
save your brother?
And I wouldn't say,
why?
I'm not saying it's my brother. There's a difference between brother and white and black. There is.
What is?
Of
is it?
course you would save your brother because he's a part of your family.
is it?
But for some reason, ethno-nationalists believe that everyone is their family. I personally don't want a family that
Believe-
big.
It is just more different.
I care
It is
about my
just more
twin sister, my mom, and my
When
dad
does
the
your-
most. I would
when
save
does
those
your
people above
family
all
stop?
other else, huh?
Where exactly does your family stop? Your first cousin, your second cousin, your third cousin? What?
Like if I had to compare, well, beyond my immediate family, which I would say beyond all others, I would save
Oh, so
whoever
you-
I like the most. Yeah,
So
that
you
would
would not save your first cousin?
in opposed to my second. No, I wouldn't go down a arbitrary line of whether he was my first and second cousin. I would decide to save my cousin based on
You
which cousin I
save
like the most.
Your first cousin. Would you save your first cousin?
Or
as
my
opposed to a random.
That's a ridiculous analogy again. But back to my point, who would you say if you saw a black person and a white person hanging off a cliff? Who would you save?
I'd save the person who's closest related to me.
That's an arbitrary line of thinking. Because it's instinctual,
This is
yes,
exactly
but it's
the line
wrong.
of YouTube.
I do not
This
take
is
that line of
exactly
thinking.
The line of thinking.
Again, as I said, beyond my immediate family, I would save whoever I preferred in my life the best.
How do you choose? How do you choose the arbitrary limit of your?
And you're saying like there's the family? Well, it's kind of arbitrary, right? That kind of makes all of white nationalism arbitrary too. You're just saying both are
By
arbitrary.
your lot,
You're making the argument that family is a social construct. That's what you're saying.
The limit is arbitrary. You don't get it. The limit is arbitrary. I'm saying
The
the
lead?
closest they are, the more important they should be to you, morally.
No. That's a faulty line
Then
of
why did you
morals.
save your fucking brother?
Why? Because you told me he was my brother. God damn.
Exactly.
But that
How do you not
situation.
get this?
Oh my God. Are you not understanding what I'm saying though?
Okay,
Because
forget
that
your brother.
example doesn't relate to would I save a white person
Your
over a
brother
black
is not-
person. I might not have
Your
any
brother
relation
is
to a white person. I might not have a single relation to them.
How about, yeah.
I might not.
How about?
And I probably wouldn't have
how
a
about
single
your first
relation to the black person either.
How about your first cousin?
To as opposed to a random stranger? Again, you're saying family. This is arbitrary in its sense of argument.
So the first cousin is also family.
What are you saying here? It's you're just making the point that how we decide who our family is arbitrary.
You just said your first cousin is family. Before
Oh
that,
my
you said
God,
it's not.
dog. Because you said he was my family. Before that, you said he's my family, so of course I'm going to call him my family. And again, it's arbitrary. I don't get why you're stuck on this arbitrary point. It's ridiculous.
The reason I am asking is because I'm trying to find where the limit of the family is.
The limit of the family. Again, I told you, when that decision comes into play, I would save my immediate... It's an arbitrary thing to say, but in my circumstance, my immediate family is my mom, my dad, and my twin sister. That's immediate family.
Who already exists. Maybe you had 10 brothers. I'm talking about...
Well, I don't have 10 brothers.
Logically, what's the distance? What is the distance that defines your immediate family?
Well, I would obviously save all my immediate family. Do you know what the word immediate means? Family? Immediate family?
Yeah, you tell me.
It means your brothers, your sisters, your mom, your dad. That is an immediate family. That is what that word means in the United States.
So not your first cousin.
No, that is not immediate family. By definition.
So would you save your first cousin?
It depends on the situation.
For fuck's sake.
It's arbitrary to say this, dude. It really is. You're acting like it's some instinctual thing. It's also preconceived. You could say if a person
have the balls and say you will not save your first cousin.
I'm not saying that. Because I'm not saying I would save the other person or my first cousin. I'm not saying either of those. Because your premise is ridiculous. Because you're trying to argue that this arbitrary line here, because we arbitrarily choose our family. Some people hate their real family, but like their foster family. Why is that? Because we have we have perspectives based on what happens to us in life, as well as genetics.
Would you roll a dice?
Would I roll a dice? And do what?
Your first cousin or the other guy?
Would I roll a dice?
Yeah, you have.
That's just as yeah, because at this point you're just making it as arbitrary as can be. That's just another arbitrary way to solve it. You just put an arbitrary solution to an arbitrary question. That's all you did there.
Question. Listen. You have this.
Here, let me roll a die. Here, hold on. I have a D6 right here. I'll roll it. Okay, 3. My cousin dies. Oh my God, no. It just proves it's an arbitrary solution. That's it.
You have these choices. You just misrepresented the example.
You're using an arbitrary.
Why are you so triggered?
Thought of family. Okay, do you think someone... Hold on. I'm not triggered at all. I just think what you're saying is stupid because you're using arbitrary points. That's not triggered. Triggered is getting mad about something. I'm trying to explain this to you, too. I'm trying to explain it to you so you understand.
You have these choices.
You're using these examples of family to somehow justify that we have a closer connection to white people. But you're completely denying anything beyond just the instinctual thoughts of man. Like you have to think about perspectives, because someone who had his foster mother sitting off a cliff that has loved him and treated him well his entire life would leave his mother who abandoned him every single time.
What is wrong? Tell me what is wrong, son.
What is wrong? Again, it's arbitrary. What you're saying is arbitrary to everything you're talking about.
So it wasn't arbitrary to ask about your brother.
I said it was arbitrary to ask about the brother. Because family is arbitrary.
But in the
what you say is your family is arbitrary to everything, dude. Like, it's arbitrary. You choose it based on your perspective. Because if you have a foster mother that has loved and cared for your entire life, you really love, and then you have your genetic mother hanging off a cliff, most likely you'd save you'd save your foster mother because she has loved and cared for you. So there's an important thing where you guys take away,
what you did now was
the
compare
thoughts in your head.
Listen. What you did now was compared to different weights. The weight of the emotional connection with your foster mother, and the weight of the genetic and emotional connection with your genetic mother, with your biological mother. This is to compare two different weights has nothing to do with this. What I am doing is giving you two equal weights and trying
equal weights. They're not equal.
Equal weights is a random guy, and
it's not equal.
Logic, listen, equal weights.
It's not
a random guy, and according to your logic,
if it would be equal if it was two random guys.
Why can't you shut up for a minute?
So triggered. You're triggered now, huh?
The equal. I'm so triggered. The equal weights are the random guy and your first cousin by your logic, because it's not your immediate family anymore.
What? It's again, it's arbitrary. This does not matter to your argument. I don't know why we're
Just
stuck
keep
on this
saying that.
analogy. It's arbitrary.
You
How you choose family is arbitrary in the real world. I'm sorry we don't work in your philosophical small solution
Helped me
here.
prove something.
It doesn't prove
It helped
anything.
me prove something. What you called arbitrary helped
What
me
you
prove
proved is
that
how
there
we
is
decide
way.
family is arbitrary.
Shut up. Shut the fuck up.
Oh my
What
God.
you call arbitrary helped me prove that you see a moral weight to the connection
Hold
with
on.
your brother.
Question: do you live in the real world?
No, I live in Fantasyland.
Okay, well, in Fantasyland, do your experiences affect your decisions in life? At all?
Yeah, they do. So why do you choose your brother if they do as well for you?
Because, what? I'm saying your experiences affect this, so it's
It's
arbitrary.
entirely
Because you're going to
arbitrary.
arbitrarily decide who your real mother is, or your real father. It can, like a piece of paper can say you're genetically inclined, or it's factually true that you're genetically related to this person. But that doesn't matter, really, for family.
You're not genetically inclined to choose the one who is your brother. You are genetically inclined to choose whoever is closest to you. You are genetically inclined.
What the?
to
You're just
recognize
moving the
value.
goalposts now. What the? You're genetically inclined to save whoever is closest to you? How does that prove your argument?
That is what you did.
I didn't say that.
Then why? Then why?
What, you mean closest to you in distance or closest to you in genetics?
Then justify.
Just answer what I just said, because it makes a difference. Closer to you in distance or genetics?
Genetics.
Yeah, no, that's arbitrary. That's an arbitrary line of thought.
Then why did you choose your brother?
Why did I choose my brother? Because if you take away the experiences of man, ultimately all you have is a tribal, simplistic animal, and the animal would choose his brother, his pack mate.
Oh, so you
Are we
chose the
animals?
tribalistic instinct. So you
Yes,
chose
when
the
you take away
tribalistic
all
instinct,
experience
but
and
you
anything that
don't
makes
have
us human,
conclusion.
you are tribal. Yeah. Congratulations.
Yes,
We're fucking
you
gorillas.
embraced. You embraced it, you idiot.
You basically want to turn people into monkey people. That's what you want to do. Who decide
Then
things
you just
entirely
admit
based
you're a
on
monkey.
instinct. You want to
Just
hump your
admit
cousin.
you are a monkey. You
And
just
I know I'm
admit you are a
strawmanning you with the
monkey.
hump the cousin thing, but it's funny. So I said it.
You just admitted you are a monkey because you chose your brother.
I'm saying if I was a monkey, I would choose my brother, but other factors play
But
into
you
life.
didn't- but
That's
you
why
didn't
I'm saying
fucking
your
choose your
analogy is faulty. Can we get off of this, please? I think the argument speaks for itself that your argument doesn't work because your analogy is silly in comparison, because you're taking away
You
everything
have
that
no
makes you
idea
human.
How bad you fucked up.
I didn't fuck
You
up
have
at all.
no idea how bad.
How
you
bad did I fuck up? What did I fuck up on?
You couldn't.
What did I
You
fuck up on?
couldn't keep up with with 3 steps in
With
logic.
some equal thing, right? With these two people, random, but you're telling me one's my brother. That's not equal. You're throwing a separate factor in there, dude.
That's exactly because.
And now
that
what? Now
separate
what
factor,
if I hated my family? That would affect
that
it.
would create again. That would add a separate weight that you would be comparing.
But you're
to
already
the
throwing
next
in a separate weight, so that's just throwing in more separate weight. You've already weighted
Yes.
the conversation to one side.
If you shut up for a minute, I will explain to you why.
You will explain to me how it is not
The reason
weighted.
why is because I want to see if there is any moral weight to your genetic connection. And when I put 2 random people together, and one of them is your brother, you by choosing your brother, you admit that there is a moral weight to your genetic connection. This is all I did.
Yeah, if we are animals about it. Yeah, if we're
But
animals.
Then you admit you're an animal.
I am not. I'm a human. That's what makes it different. We have
Then why
cognition.
did you choose your brother?
Because
Okay, I'm
you
done,
put me
I'm
in a
done with
position
it, I'm
where
done
I
with
was
it, I'm done.
basically fucking nuded.
I think everyone has gotten the point by now. Okay,
Yeah, I
let's
think.
get to
Are we done completely,
the
or are
next
we?
point or whatever.
What next point do you want to talk about?
I have nothing. I just want to answer questions.
I mean, I've asked questions that I care to answer or care to be answered, and I don't think we've agreed on much. I'm glad we can agree that tribalism causes conflict. I'm happy about that. I'm happy we got that same. We're working from the same
exactly.
thing there, which is nice.
Not exactly. I think
You don't
think
what?
tribalism creates good limits.
Creates what?
I think tribalism creates healthy limits because without tribalism, with everyone being an atomized individual, then
You don't
any
believe
massive
tribalism
force.
causes conflict if two tribes are in the
What?
same place. That's my point.
Actually, in anarcho-capitalism,
Oh my
there
god.
would be even if there was no instinctual tribalism, there would be what's the word? Not fake, but constructed tribalism in the
Constructed
form of a
tribalism.
social contract. And the reason we would
So you
do that.
believe in social constructs then?
What do you mean? I believe in social. Of course, we we socially construct things
Okay.
all the time.
Just making sure. Yeah. Okay.
Wait, what's the problem with that?
I mean, certain people don't believe in social constructs. Like, believe they should even be applied at all. I mean, I'm not saying alt-righters even. I'm just making sure, dude.
I don't know what you mean by social construct, but
You were
let's
just
call it.
speaking about social constructs, and you don't know what I mean by social constructs. This is the problem with the
No,
alt-right. You
you
guys are
talked
so
about
fucking
it. You
flaky.
talked
Even
about
when
it
I'm
like
not
it was a
contesting
fallacy.
you, you're flaky. I literally asked the other day, and this is very important. I asked, would you all, like, what is your opinion on Israel or Palestine? Would you keep the Israelis there or the Palestinians there? And it was strayed. But one person responded to me. They were like, "You're just trying to trap us. Stop being so fucking offensive. Be like
I
fucking
wasn't
just."
offended, you idiot. I was
Yes,
just
you.
curious what you meant.
You said you were talking about social construct, and then when I brought up, so you believe in social construct as a thing, right? You said, well, not necessarily, and then you said, what do you mean by social construct? I think we both have a pretty good definition of social construct. We don't need to argue over the definition of
You used
every
a
goddamn word.
tone. You used a tone
I used
that
a tone.
gave me the impression that it would
You know
somehow
why I think you think I
conflict with
used a
something
tone?
else.
Because you are a paranoid man, just like most of the alt-right for some reason. I don't know why you're all paranoid. And I didn't say
Your
all.
tone.
There's exceptions.
Listen, you idiot. Listen, you idiot. Your tone is a statement. The
The tone
statement
is a
your
statement.
tone would made in this context is that me saying I believe in a social construct conflicts with another one of my beliefs, and I just wanted to know
Well,
what it
I'm
was.
trying to say that the alt-right is just crazily defensive about anything, even if you just type something. If you
I
type
was
something,
just curious.
and even caveat to
Just
the
curious.
fact that you don't mean to argue with their points, you're just asking a question, they will get defensive on you. Like
I think you
crazy.
just take. Think I'm aggressive all the time. Maybe it's my accent.
I don't think
I
you're
was just curious.
aggressive. I think you're
Uh,
overtly defensive to anything someone says to you. It's strange. You.
said the guy who was triggered about 3 steps of logic for about half an hour just before
I
that.
wasn't triggered about it.
You were so triggered.
I wasn't triggered at all. I think your logic is faulty.
Okay, I'm not going back to that.
That's the point.
Um,
Like, why else would we have a debate?
so anyway, in the anarcho-capitalist state, let's not call it a construct,
Sure.
just in case. Let's call it a contract.
You can call it a social construct. I don't care.
But I don't know what you mean by it, so I just want to be sure.
What is your definition of a social construct then? If we have to be completely, what is it?
Just the definition and framing of a social phenomenon or an agreement that people make with each other.
Okay, so we're on the same page. It's like a social
Alrighty.
construct, a
It's the
social
same-
contract
it's the
almost,
same-
right?
It's the same thing. A social contract would be binding. A social construct is simply
Yeah, it's similar.
something like language, meta language, something like that.
Sure, yeah, how we communicate, it's important, right?
Yeah, but let's call it a contract would actually be more accurate because it would be binding. Not legally, but there would be, chain boycotts. This is the way ANCAP states.
I understand how it works. Yeah, I
Anyway,
understand.
so there would be constructed tribalism. This is where the construct comes in, and this is to protect you from outside groups that, even
Mhm.
though they may not be racially tribalistic, even if there were no tribalistic humans, they would recognize that by banding together, they would be able to take over atomized individuals a lot easier. So this is why you would need tribalism to defend yourself against such groups. It's not that tribalism creates the hostility; it's that you need tribalism as a default to defend against hostility.
Tribalism does create the hostility because without the tribalism,
Tribal-
you'd be a multicultural society. What are you
No,
talking
listen,
about?
tribalism can create hostility, but it's
It
not.
is the creation of hostility. It also defends you from it, yes, but it creates it as well. Without
I think that
tribalism, you wouldn't have the hostility of tribalism,
this is
right?
why I use the example of the UNCAP state, because even without having the hostility of tribalism, you would create tribalism to defend. The very purpose of tribalism would be to defend, and I'm arguing that this is probably why tribalism exists in evolution. But
Because
anyway, I'm just
anarcho-capitalists will form
not
tribal
something to
groups.
argue. It's not something to argue about. It's just explaining my perspective on what
Okay,
tribalism is.
that's fine. I choose to disagree, but sure, that's
Yeah,
nice.
whatever.
All right, do you want to talk about anything else, or are we?
I don't know. My voice already hurts.
All right. Well, if you want to be done, it was fun talking to you. Do you have anything to say?
It was fun talking to you too. We can talk any other time you want. I like to have these debates and hone my arguments, take some notes,
Yeah. It's always useful.
maybe make a guide.
It's always useful, man. All right. Well,
Yeah.
hopefully we
And
can talk again
talk to
sometime.
me again whenever you want.
Sure, man. All right. I'll talk to you later.
All right. See you later.
All right, guys. Well, that was fun. So I'm gonna take a little break here. I'm gonna put on some music for y'all, and then I'm gonna be back with a little stream. I have to take a couple breaks to take care of my animals, but I'm gonna stream for like an hour, and then we'll get back to business as usual, I suppose. But so we're gonna go on a 15-minute break. Hope you guys enjoyed that. I sure did. It was fun. Yeah, I don't know what else to say about that besides that. We'll see you in like 15, probably. All right, guys, that was fun. I'm hoping to do more of that kind of thing in the future. We'll see how it goes. Hopefully, it keep on getting people to debate us on stuff like that, or other topics, perhaps. But I found it fun. It was kind of great. I am going to probably be trying. I want to do this. I want to get. Well, one, I want to start debating people more. I want to try. I want to try and make more content. We'll see how I do. Again, college is kind of wearing on me here, but I want to do some 2E Dungeons and Dragons with a friend of mine, or maybe a group. We'll see if I can get that streamed. I hope I can. It'd be so amazing just to do that. It'd be so fun. But we'll see how that goes. Otherwise, I'm going to play some TTT here. I know we got a little bogged down in that conversation for a little while there. Probably could have used a third party there to keep us in line. We got bogged down especially around a couple analogies, which is an issue. I think overall, though, we discussed some important stuff. I think I made my point as to why I feel a lot of their arguments either justify arguments that they probably don't agree with at all, or necessarily would actually work out the way they think. If I'm shorten it down to that, but you know, it was interesting. I feel it made for a good discussion. Definitely could use some work around the edges though, as far as getting people to not just yell at each other. I'm definitely hoping to do more. I hope I can get some conversations with me, like even excluded from them, with people who disagree. I've been seeing it a lot on YouTube recently, and I think it's an interesting thing. And I enjoy it as content, so hopefully we can get that going. Anyway, what's up? What's up with you guys today in the chat? How y'all doing? And if you enjoyed the debate, I hope you did. Let me know if you want to see more. I'm probably gonna end up doing more if I if I